ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of WrestleCast. I'm your host, Rich Billy Jr., and tonight I'm joined by Mr. Adam Vale. How's it going, Adam?
Oh, it's going, man. The only thing missing is a bunch of midgets wrestling. We need some of that. But besides that, I think we got everything else going on this weekend. So should be interesting.
Absolutely. We're also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How's it going, Dana?
Hola, everybody.
And we are joined by Mr. Ricardo Negron. How's it going, Ricky?
Going great. I'm ready to rumble.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Adam Vale. I got to put him on the spot. He actually released our intro track, which you're going to be hearing if you're listening to the download. So, Adam, excellent job on the track. I hope that you are now. I'm assuming that now you are woken after making that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. For those who don't know, I used to produce music. I did some tracks for movies, indie movies, and I released an album back in 2006 or 7, and I used to produce music for like nightclubs and stuff like Webster Hall and stuff like that in New York. And that's it. Then I stopped, and life took over with other things, and equipment started breaking down. But started getting back into it, and I made a few tracks, and thinking of getting back into a full swing and release another album. And so I made this track and a little some intro. First, I mean, it was long. I made a bunch of stuff that was just like songs that made no sense because I'm like, it don't need to be like 10, 15 seconds. What am I doing? So I kept cutting it, and then eventually this is the one that my 6-year-old daughter approved of, and that's what we went with. And poof, and everybody here seemed to like it. So hopefully people that downloaded it found it cool and different.
Absolutely, yes. Thought it was awesome. And I also approve, much like your daughter did. Thumbs up.
Cool.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, there's a ton of stuff that happened in wrestling this week. I mean, unless, of course, you were living underneath a rock and you didn't watch any TV or you go on social media, none of that stuff. So we have quite a bit. We have a lot to get into. But before we do that, I'm going to give the mic to Dana and so she can let us know about a few news stories that happened this week. So, Dana, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, this week was a very, very busy week. Let's start off with Roman Reigns. WWE just confirmed that Roman Reigns will be in the 30-man Royal Rumble match on this Sunday. The updated list of confirmed participants include Reigns, John Cena, Finn Balor, Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, Elias, Baron Corbin, Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt, Aiden English, Rusev, Titus O'Neil, Apollo Crews, Kofi Kingston, Big E, Xavier Woods, Ty Dillinger, and now the WWE Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. WWE Hall of Famer Jerry Lawler also revealed on his podcast that he just recently signed a new 1-year deal with WWE. He also revealed that he will be one of the announcers for the men's Royal Rumble match. John Cena is now in talks to play Duke Nukem, which will be Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes. So everything is under development. We don't have any date. We don't have any other details. We just know that right now he is in talks and it's looking rather positive. So we're going to see him on the big screen doing that. Ronda Rousey has confirmed that she will not be at the Royal Rumble. In fact, Ronda is busy filming a movie which doesn't wrap until mid-February, which by her schedule means that she cannot even be in the same country because she's busy doing a movie elsewhere. WWE also announced that the Royal Rumble 2019 will be hosted by Phoenix. So Royal Rumble will be in Phoenix, Arizona at the Chase Field on January 27, 2019, which will mark the WWE's debut and the first time the Royal Rumble has ever been held at a baseball stadium. Phoenix will also host the following events at the Resorts Arena: NXT TakeOver, which will be on Saturday, January 26th, Raw, which will be Monday, January 28th, SmackDown, which will be Tuesday, January 29th. Then we have, lastly, Rich Swann has been, his case has been, his case has been dismissed So it's looking like he will return to the WWE very soon. And that's it.
Well, hopefully, hopefully they'll just squash it. Let him come back.
Absolutely. Thank you for those news stories, Dana. Hopefully, yeah, I mean, I do hope that Rich Swann does make his return, although I hope that when he does make his return, he can get rid of this dancing gimmick, because I don't understand what that's all about. All the black guys got to dance. I don't like that.
No.
You know exactly what it's about.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, so just as you mentioned, there was a lot that happened this week. We have a couple of major topics we need to get into. First and foremost, we need to talk about the Raw 25th anniversary special, and you guys' overall thoughts on how that show went down. Now, I obviously do have a couple of things I want to say on it, but Dana, how about you go first and let us know what you liked and didn't like about the Raw 25th anniversary special.
I just want to say that I told you so. I said it wouldn't be poop, and guess what? It wasn't poop. It was worse than poop.
Yeah.
Old, stale, dirty poop. Yeah, this show was a disaster. I'm gonna start off like from the beginning. If you watch some of the pre-show, I liked the pre-show more than I did the actual show. And this was just basically a bunch of interviews. Eric Bischoff, he gave an interview and he was saying that, remember when he came back to be general manager at Raw? He said that he had to first ask permission by The Undertaker to see if he, was allowed back in and his thoughts. And The Undertaker gave him the approval. So that's how he was able to be a general manager. So I really like that part. Now the show itself, the disaster of the show, here's the thing I also like. I like the fact that when Vince came back and, he came back to get an award and then he berated the audience and then Austin came in and stunned him, then stunned Shane. And it was just like this weird moment where you kind of flashed back to like back in 99. So I really liked that aspect. I liked how was just really fun and playful. Vince McMahon, it was so adorable because he can't take a stunner anymore because he's like old. So he had to just put his body over, and you could see that Austin didn't even touch him, but he really acted well with it. And I liked how Vince kind of like poured the beer over Shane. It was like this small little moment. So that was fun. And then from there, it just kind of went downhill, just completely downhill. The Undertaker at the Manhattan Center, I kind of liked. It had that old school vibe, but he just didn't really say much. And it was just him making an appearance. And it was just really much of a letdown. I liked The Miz being the 8-time IC champ. That was good. The return of the Dudleys, I like that, the little get the table thing. But these were just like small snippets of, what the Attitude Era and what Raw used to be. These were like little small moments. And for me and my memory, it just made it worse because it was just terrible, basically, how they took the memory and they just tried to recreate something again. And no one really had the same oomph and the personality. And it was just a clusterfuck. Sorry. The best part also, DX finally mentioned China, that, she exists.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. I thought it was disrespectful that you finally got Scott Hall. He's alive and he's breathing, but they went to commercial. That was awful. They buried the Revival, which I didn't understand.
That I really didn't understand.
I didn't get that part at all. I think that was just like the added thing because the people at Manhattan Center was so upset because there was basically nothing happening. And Triple H had to bus the wrestlers to the Manhattan Center in order to prevent like a riot because people were just booing and it was just going crazy. There was nothing happening. So people were just revolting. So I think that was added at the last moment to get somebody, make them not riot and be somewhat appeased. Brock Lesnar and Braun fighting, that was okay. I thought it was really disrespectful that Orton wasn't there. His wife also tweeted that she was angry that he wasn't there. Lita was missing. She was on the chair, but she was missing, and especially when they had all the divas come out. Like,
Plus,
does anyone
doesn't he live upstate now with her in New York? Because she's from New York.
Well, yeah, but you can still make the show.
I mean, even Mick Foley, he lives in Long Island still, so he could have been there. He definitely could have been there.
He wasn't there. Lita wasn't there. And like they had that whole Divas thing when they all came out and you had the Bellas and you had Tori. Like, does anyone really care about Tori, to be honest? Not me, I don't. But you have Tori, but not Lita. So I didn't like that part at all. So I thought it was just a waste. I thought it was boring. And I'm happy it wasn't 5 hours because we had that confusion of whether or not it was 3 or 5 hours because it was split. There was no reason for it to be split in 2 different locations at all, especially when you're not going to have a great show. So it was boring.
I pretty much, I think, I definitely agree with a lot of what you just said. I do have a couple more things to say, but okay, Adam, how about you go next and let me know what you liked and didn't like about this show?
Their whole approach to this was a mess because I mean, all right, so you have one going on in Manhattan Center, you have the other one in Barclays, right? So me being from New York, I already know the commute. If they were to go over the Brooklyn Bridge, it'd probably take about an hour. During that time, it's already past rush hour, so it shouldn't be that much of an issue. Just to drive down through the bridge over to Manhattan, and then just drop people off or pick people up. I thought they were going to do something like that. Have people show up on Raw, then have people show up at the Manhattan Center, and they would just move things back and forth. That way, it's even for everyone. But it wasn't that. What did they have? I think they had like 2 matches at Manhattan Center, and the tickets were kind of pricey for that event. But just to be fair on WWE's end, I heard, I don't know if this is true, I'm still looking to see some pictures, but I saw some posts on Reddit. People were saying that on the ticket itself, it said that they weren't going to have any live matches or performances or something like that. So they were trying to make it clear, but I think a lot of people still didn't understand that. I figured there would be some kind of match or something going on.
What the heck was their approach if there wasn't going to be any live matches?
I don't know, man. It's as if they just wanted to be there and that was going to be enough. It's like, oh, look, we're here and you're going to get to see these people. Who knows? I was thinking that maybe they were going to do a meet and greet out in the lobby area of the Manhattan Center, but they didn't even do that. So these people just paid just to see these people shoot promos, and that's it. So that just really bothered me. Again, doing that weird Hall of Fame thing, like you mentioned, with the women coming out and doing all that. I didn't get it. That didn't do anything for me because you do it for that, but then the other guys showing up with the APA and they were doing their weird playing cards skit, and and I figured that's what they were going to do because there was just too many names that they were mentioning that were going to be there. So I was like, they have to bunch them up all together for something.
But half the people didn't even get announced. Today, people really don't know who MVP is unless you're like watching TNA or something.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. MVP, that was he got a big pop, and it's like, I don't know. Again, it felt weird. It's like, so what is he, a legend? I mean, what are you doing with him? You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't get that. Is he coming back? I don't know. And then when the Dudley Boys and doing what they did, and that didn't make any sense either. None of it really felt right. What really upset me was the whole thing of the Finn Balor and then the rest of the guys coming out to do the Too Sweet and all that. And it's funny with the crowd because the crowd is chanting the new version of the Bullet Club song because that Too Sweet whoop whoop, and that is Marty Scurll. He adds that because he has the flapping and all that. But anyway, the fact that they went about doing that. So is this like a passing of the torch? Is that what they're trying to say? And so if that's the case, this is a legit group with Finn Balor. So then change the name, give it a real name. Is it just called Balor Club? Is that the name? Because they're coming out to the same music as Finn. I don't. And my one gripe, and I'm surprised nobody talked about this shit, but this just shows how WWE is very loose with all their story stuff. We talked about it before with the Rumble, how when someone gets eliminated, they can crawl back in, throw somebody else out, and that still counts for some damn reason. Don't know, but whatever. That's one thing. How about this one? What did we see? We saw Triple H, and he gave a pedigree to one of the guys from Revival. Now he's like the chief operating officer, right? He's a higher up. We saw Shane hit Owens a few months back, and they played this whole thing. He's gonna sue. You can't do it. You're not a performer. Blah 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 blah. No talks of that. And Triple H went in and did a pedigree. You know what I mean? It's like Like, are they going to play that off? No, they're not going to play that off. They're just going to let it go. And like you said, why the revival? You could have fed Ascension or something. The revival came out recently trying to get all this heat about how they're the wrestlers, not the superstars. You want them to come back strong. And then they just got treated like chumps. Now no one gives a shit about them. Now it's like, whatever. They got beat up by New Age outlaws and stuff. Come on now. It was pointless. That was a waste. And I get probably why they did, because maybe the Ascension wasn't there. And they were like, all right, hey, who wants to get on the bus and go down? I don't know. But that was a bad move. And it definitely felt rushed with that whole thing. And it fell flat. The whole thing fell flat. That was, yeah. So that's my whole thing. I didn't like it. I didn't like their approach on it. And the most confusing part was Undertaker. And usually when he comes out, his stuff is like, I don't know, it's written, and it's well thought out. This one looked like this is off the top of his head. And this is still more, what I mean? Like, he was confused. Like, what kind of message are you sending then? Are you coming back for one more match? Are you not? Is this a retirement speech that you're trying to give and you're getting choked up and you're backing out of it? I couldn't understand that. So he came out and basically mumbled stuff that made no sense to anything. What did you get from that? What did you get from what Undertaker said?
Nothing.
I think Undertaker is still recovering from the beatdown that he got at last WrestleMania by Roman Reigns. I don't know. I didn't understand that either.
I gotta be honest. I watched the Undertaker's promo, but I don't remember a goddamn word he said.
That's what I'm saying. He was mumbling stuff about like the people that he's beaten in the past, and that this is still his yard or something like that. Something it was still his place, and that they all rest in peace. No, they're not. One of them is about to be champ. The other one is still champ. It's like your time. I get it. It's come and gone. But everybody wants to see him in one more match, and I do. But it's not so much about his wrestling ability that we want to see. We want to see the gimmick versus gimmick, and that's Sting versus Undertaker. We want to see the build up. We want to see all the spectacles with the entrances and all that. That's what we want to see. Throw that at us. I don't know if we're going to get that. I doubt it. I thought maybe that's what he was going to announce. Him showing up. The rumors of him dyeing his hair and doing the whole thing. That didn't even matter. He wore a damn hat or his hood or what. I freaking forgot what he was wearing.
Well, let me just make a quick comment. Don't worry, you will get that Sting versus Undertaker match, but it's going to be in a retirement home because it will not be in the WWE ring.
It's going to be in my broken W2K18 Switch version. That's where it's going to be, because for those who know, they came out with another patch and it's still broke. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is this? And he says, oh, yeah, now it's up to par with the other console. Up to par. No, it's not. No, not even close. Not even close. It's so bad that still when you press, just try to do an entrance, the timing and audio, everything is off. It is, it's a mess. It is a mess. Now people are petitioning that they were like, you know what? For the people that bought it, then give us a DLC free. Give us at least that so that we can at least try to play some of this stuff because they still want to charge like $90 for all that shit, with the game. So it's like, just give the season pass for people that purchased it because no one else is going to buy that damn game now. It's done. It's dead in the water.
I just want to give a shout out to Carl Daniel also because he told me earlier today that the price is also $30 now for the game. So I guess 2K understands.
There you go. That has to wait 30 for this
for the whole game. It's half price.
Retail, but is that the retail or digital? Because Nintendo don't like to cut prices on anything.
Oh yeah. Well, not the digital. I highly doubt digital. But yeah, that's interesting. So the patch still doesn't work. That's
oh man, it was a big patch too. And the first thing I did was I just selected Finn Balor, and who was it? It was somebody simple. Oh no, it was one of the guys from Authors of Pain because I wanted to see what now is multiple people walking down because it was a slow frame rate. Slow frame rate for both. For Finn coming out, his audio was off, the lighting was off, everything was all a mess. And then when the APA, same thing. Everything was slow and the sound was off. It's a shame, but whatever. So that's it. But yeah, Raw 25, whatever, sucked. Whole thing was bad. And we weren't expecting too much, but just something better than this. Make announcements. You know, that's the best thing they could have done. Just make a bunch of announcements. You know, they broke some announcements today, but that's even though it's not really Raw. But the whole thing about Bobby Roode saying that with the U.S. title, saying that he's going to do the open challenge again, like what Cena did. So they announced that. So all right, well, I don't know, stuff like that. That would have been talking points and whatever.
I think they said that's going to be on the Royal Rumble pre-show, right? That open challenge.
Yeah, that open challenge.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The record. The Undertaker's speech was, it's so confusing. I declare for all of those who have fallen, it is truly time you rest in peace. So,
what? That doesn't even make sense.
Big as all can do.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, we'll see what happens with Undertaker. I'm pretty sure he still will have a match at WrestleMania. Too early to really determine who that is going to be, even though I heard the rumors of John Cena. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Ricky, I want to get your thoughts on what you liked and didn't like about Raw. I know you didn't watch all. Well, you did see all of it, I believe. But yeah, let me know what you think about the show.
Oh yeah, sure thing. I recorded it and watched it later. Saw it in its entirety. I mean, I did fast forward through some parts, but my impression from it was that it was dog shit. I said on the previous show that there was no way that WWE was going to allow Raw 25 to overshadow the Royal Rumble, and they emphatically made sure that wouldn't be the case. It was a very underwhelming show. It felt like a poor man's version of the old school Raws that we used to see that they would do once a year, and they would bring the legends back for those and everything. It was very awkwardly done, and they learned nothing from the past because WrestleMania 2 took place at 3 different venues, I believe, at the same time, and that was a disaster. They couldn't even get it right down the street in the Manhattan Center. I read somewhere on Reddit, on the subreddit Squared Circle, someone's account of the event, and I guess there were some dark matches with the Cruiserweights, and those matches lasted like 2 minutes. It was completely nonsensical. The vast majority of the time, people there in Manhattan Center were subjected to, I guess, 50-inch screens watching what was going on at the Barclays Center, which is where all the action actually happened. And I guess, because of the riots that were forming, whatever, that they started, Ubering wrestlers, from Brooklyn down to the Manhattan Center to make appearances. Like The Miz made an appearance, apparently. I don't remember seeing that on the broadcast, but I guess The Miz made an appearance. Seth Rollins made an appearance. It was just a big clusterfuck. And that's just talking about the Manhattan Center, which I didn't expect anything really special to happen there. Everyone there that wanted to pay the $400+ or whatever it costs because they wanted the privilege of being at the birthplace of Raw, well, be careful what you ask for. That's all I can say about that. Especially the marks that really want to be on camera in the first row for every freaking show. You got what you deserved. Going back to the Barclays Center, that was also a very disappointing show. You mentioned the legendary divas that were brought out. I'm sorry, we don't call them divas anymore. They're female superstars. It stood out to me, Lita not being there. It stood out like a sore thumb because she was basically like the Randy Orton to Trish Stratus's John Cena. Both very iconic and had a great feud together, and it just didn't seem right for her not to be there for whatever reason.
I feel like that was done on purpose, though. A part of me feels like she's going to be one of the entries over in the female Royal Rumble, and that's why they did it, because they want a big surprise. I don't know why, but that's what I'm thinking.
But even her making an appearance wouldn't even stop the surprise. I mean, it's just something in market history. Lita, to me, is not a diva. She's always been a wrestler. When I started watching her, I was like, oh my God, women can do this too? Her and Trish Stratus, for me, changed the entire game. So to not invite her was just beyond disrespectful.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that entirely. I still think that if Trish Stratus were to enter the Royal Rumble, a lot of people would consider that a big surprise, and it wouldn't have made a difference that she was on camera the week before. I don't think anyone's going to forget who Trish Stratus is anytime soon, and I think the same case is with Lita. If it turns out that Lita appears in the Rumble match, I mean, great. But I don't think that they should have had to snub her from a landmark milestone show like Raw 25 for it, just for the surprise factor. I thought that was pointless.
And Lita gave a statement. Even she was saying, I wasn't invited. I don't know why.
Maybe the budget. Who knows how many of these people they had to pay to do the whole fly down, you know?
Kelly over Lita? I mean,
but Kelly's been saying that she was supposed to be at Mania, and they scrapped her for some reason. So maybe they felt like they owed her one.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, they had to save money in the budget for the Brooklyn Brawler and Jacqueline and all that, you know. So sorry, Lita, we just don't have the money for you. Yeah, I don't know. That's really only one part of the show. The show itself, the blur to me. I one of the highlights was, Miz winning the Intercontinental title back from Roman Reigns, just because of how insane the pop was when that happened. Miz even looked kind of overwhelmed by it. That was a very cool moment, but I think it was one of those. What did Samoa Joe? Samoa Joe said it was what do they call it? Like a Pyrrhic. A Pyrrhic, or I forget what the term is, like a something victory, where
euphoric.
No, not euphoric. It was. I can't remember for the life of me what it was pronounced, but it's basically a victory it's almost like a defeat because it comes at a high price. People, I'm sure, were thrilled about Miz winning the belt off of Roman Reigns until they realized 2 seconds later, oh shoot. Now Reigns can go after a different belt, which we will address later in the show. But yes, Miz winning it was kind of cool. I don't know. I can't remember much else. So I'm just going to say for the most part that Raw 25 was underwhelming.
I'm sorry.
I agree. Oh, wait. You said you're sorry.
I'm sorry to everybody. I want to apologize on behalf of WWE. I know they won't do it, but I'll do it for you guys.
Hear it.
That was a disappointment, and yeah, I'm offended. That this is what we had to get, and after all the hype, it just sucked. What were the ratings like?
That's a good question. I haven't really checked the ratings. Perhaps if you guys want to check it, then you can let me know what that was. But I just want to say a few things about Raw. I agree with pretty much everything that was said about the disappointments. Yeah, the Undertaker promo, I didn't understand what the hell that was all about. Say what?
2.2 million.
Oh, look at that. See, that's perfect. That's perfect. 2.2.
Of all cable for the night. It made it the highest rated Raw since March 30th, 2015.
Wow.
Which was the night after WrestleMania 31.
Interesting. Okay, so not bad. Okay, so I give WWE props for getting some viewers.
No, deserve props for that. People just really thought it was going to be something special.
And plus, it's the go home, and that's the go home to the big event. So you're expecting to see something, right?
Yeah.
And especially this, if it's at 2 different locations. Come on now.
Yeah. Well,
Pyrrhic victory. That's what it was. It was a Pyrrhic victory. That Roman Reigns loses. Miz winning the belt off of Roman Reigns was a Pyrrhic victory. While Miz wins, eventually we all lose.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. 100% correct.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so a few other things I'll say about Raw before we move on. Obviously there was a couple of things that I also didn't understand. The question that I'm surprised neither one of you brought this up. Where the hell was The Rock at? No Rock segment, nothing.
He's not supposed to be there. He's too big.
So I guess so will he be on the SmackDown whenever they have the SmackDown anniversary show that they have for that?
They don't respect SmackDown enough to give it an anniversary show.
Yeah, well, okay. But man, I was disappointed because I know I would have at least expected him to like film some type of segment.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but whatever. Another letdown. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was the thumbs down because we saw Stone Cold. That was a good segment. No talking with Stone Cold at all, which I found interesting.
They pay extra for voice work.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
That's the whole thing. They charge more. It's just like in the real world. Like if you're an actor, if you ever do like extra work, if you're a stand-in extra, you get like a set rate. Maybe it's like $75 or so just to run around or do whatever. But if you actually have to say something, let's say if you're a waiter and you ask even a simple thing like, all right, what would you like, sir or ma'am? Right? You get like 125, 150. Depends on the agency, but
background feature.
There you go. So.
Wow.
They didn't pay extra for him to say anything, so they get the beer.
That's interesting. Yeah, and very interesting. Okay. All right. Aside from that, to address what Ricky said earlier about Lita, I agree 100% with that. Because if I recall correctly, Lita also was the one who introduced the Raw Women's Championship some time ago. So I don't understand why she wasn't there. Yeah, she can be in the Rumble on Sunday, but considering that she's been doing commentary for them also, I would have thought, yeah, she should have been there, but I don't know what happened with that. So maybe she'll be there Sunday. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. And two other quick things I want to mention. One thing that I did enjoy from Raw, I very much enjoy seeing what they're doing with Elias. Obviously, this is the guy who was now taking Samoa Joe's spot because we know Samoa Joe was going to feud with John Cena. Mm-hmm. And I liked that segment because I thought that John Cena, they were just going to have him lay out Elias. But no, they let Elias hold his own also. So obviously, like Ricky already said earlier in the show, we know that will come at a high cost later, possibly with John Cena beating the hell out of Elias. But for the moment, I like how they're using Elias, and I'm very curious to see how they use him moving forward. But I'm at least glad that they did try to make him look somewhat strong on Monday night, despite the fact that, dealing with John Cena, we normally know how that ends. So I'm
still amazed for anybody who's been following him, at least in his WWE career. Isn't it amazing? Like, this is a guy who did nothing in NXT. He lost every major match. He never won the title. Hell, his last match was a loser leave match, and he lost. And then he shows up on Raw. It's like he was like the biggest star then, all along. Like they had a plan for him all along. It's just crazy. And it all comes back to Vince liking the big guys. Doesn't matter anything else. Just a big guy. So.
As we know, and this gets to my last point. As we know, what happens at NXT is totally different from what happens on the main roster. And I have to say this, watching that Revival burial, that hurt me to my soul because this is a team that I was so glad to see them get called up. But, as I had spoke to Ricky about after the show, that they're done because of the fact that Triple H, these are people that he was behind. And the fact that they had him give that pedigree, that I don't look at that as a rub to them. I look at that as, okay, you're done. Because we know that normally what I think that says is that whenever you come up to the main roster and you get injured, similar to what happened with Finn Balor, right? After that, you cool off for a while and Vince just loses interest. Because, look at how Balor was booked once he came back after he got injured. And now you look at what happened with the Revival. They had injury, one guy got injured. Then that guy came back and the other one got injured. So I think that definitely has something to do with the interest that they have in the wrestlers. And it's unfortunate because the team is a talented team. It's a good team. But you see, these guys were champions in NXT. And what have they achieved since they came to the main roster? Absolutely nothing.
They had a lot of injuries. That's the thing. They've had 2 major injuries since being called up, and I think that hurts them. So, but yeah, I don't understand. Like, I get WWE's idea of like, oh, we're putting more eyes on you, so that's what this is about. It's not about winning or losing. It's all about just getting eyes. But those eyes now see these people as chumps. I see them as pointless. Like, oh wow, they talked all this game the other day, and then now here they are just getting beat up by Triple H and friends. So what was the point of that? I don't get it. So that was a waste. I think that was a waste.
I don't get it either. I will say, I believe one of you mentioned earlier, it felt as though this was a passing of the torch to Balor. So this is what I will say, and we'll get into this later. If that is a passing of the torch to Balor, then he has to win the Royal Rumble on Sunday, because they keep talking about this is the year of Balor Club, all this other stuff. So something has to happen with him and Gallows and Anderson this year, whether they have a title reign or whatever. Something has to happen this year for that to make sense. But again, we'll get into the Royal Rumble talk a little bit later on. Again, Monday Night Raw, 25th anniversary, very disappointing. Wasn't happy with how they handled it. The Manhattan Center, that was a whole mess of the show. So I don't know. Maybe they'll do better. I will say I was glad to see X-Pac back in the ring with the DX guys, even though these guys are old as hell.
Well, he wasn't happy when people started doing a 1, 2, 3 chant.
That caught him off guard.
Yeah. He does not like that.
He doesn't?
No, he doesn't like that. That's the whole thing. He never wanted that before. That was something they gave him, the 1, 2, 3 Kid. Remember, he doesn't want to be connected to Kid at all. He's always hated the fact that he is the smallest out of everybody in his crew, and it always bothered him. So he definitely didn't want that. And when that chant broke out, and since it's a smaller venue, it comes off even louder when you're, there. I've been to that the Hammerstein for wrestling events, a lot of ECW events, and it gets loud. And for him to hear that, and he's, whoa, none of that. No, I was like, oh, this is it. He's gonna turn heel real quick.
Well, I mean, I could totally understand the crowd doing the chant, considering that what was it? Before he came to 1, 2, 3 Kid, he was the Lightning Kid, I guess it was.
Yeah, the Lightning Kid.
And over Razor Ramon was like the biggest upset.
That's when it started. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was one of the greatest moments in the history of Raw. So and it's the perfect venue for them to do that chant. But yeah, I can totally see your point of him being like, no, that's in the past. I'm not that little jobber anymore. I'm X-Pac. So I don't know.
I thought the whole thing was just depressing, and it has nothing to do with their fault. It's just age itself. So seeing these guys who you watched for years and you admired, and they're all like toothless and hairless. It's just sad.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad that they're alive. They're not. Because they could be a lot worse. I know Scott Hall has had his issues with alcohol and everything else. So glad to see him. But I didn't like also that they cut the commercial on his intro. I thought that was very disrespectful.
Yeah.
Very disrespectful. And I hope that he doesn't go back and watch Raw and sees that and then like, oh man, then all of a sudden I got to have another drink.
Man,
no,
I'm sure Kevin Nash was like, well, I'm glad I didn't go.
Yeah.
He had his knee surgery, and so I had a feeling he wasn't going to be able to make it, especially all that walking and traveling and stuff. But it was a good thing he didn't, because it would have been a waste. I mean, yeah, he hangs out with his buds, but the performance, the show overall was a disappointment. So,
absolutely, yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I think that concludes our thoughts on WWE Raw 25th anniversary. As Adam already said, we do apologize if you watched the show. But hopefully better things to come in terms of what's going on the next few days. We'll see about that. So we're going to move on to the next topic. This is a rather controversial topic. One of 2 controversial discussions we're going to have tonight. We need to talk about what the hell is going on with Enzo Amore. Because once I heard about this whole story with him, well, I was shocked to hear it, and then to see the immediate action taken the following day after of WWE releasing him, it was like, wow, that's pretty drastic and pretty quick. So, Dana, do you? Well, go ahead, Adam.
No. Dana's gonna go.
Dana. So, how about you give us context as to what exactly happened? Because I'm sure I know you've been keeping up with the story. So,
I have been keeping up. So, like, it's complicated. I'm going to keep my emotions out of it and just see what. Okay, so on Twitter, a woman alleged that she was raped by Enzo Amore, and that she had the police had opened a sexual assault investigation. It happened October 19th at the hotel. As a result, what followed was the WWE took action right away, and that he was suspended pending the investigation. Okay, so then the police followed up and said that the case is ongoing, that they're waiting for toxicology reports, samples and everything else to see what exactly went on. The woman claims that she went to the room with two other men, and that they was all just drinking and partaking in a little bit of illegal activity, and that they said to her that if you wasn't down for it, you could leave at any time. She then went into very graphic details about basically just saying how Enzo aggressively sexually assaulted her. The two guys had left her alone in the room with Enzo, and Enzo was pounced right on her. The WWE, in the statement, saying that they suspended him because they have zero tolerance for matters involving sexual harassment or sexual assault. So there was no, waiting for anything. It was just right then and there, zero tolerance, you are suspended. Then the WWE, later it said that he's done with. They fired him, they cut all ties, and Daniel Bryan went and made a statement saying that, because of the title and it was vacant, that they're going to have some type of match.
Did you hear the crowd when he made that statement? If you
yes,
hear it, they were cheering. That was the crazy thing. You could hear them like.
This was a very unfortunate situation. I, along with everyone else, wanted Enzo gone, but this is not how I thought it would ever be, and this is not how I wanted it to happen. But right now, there's still a case pending. WWE has severed all ties with Enzo. Even his thing is now, they're saying, Enzo's side is saying that I'm going to be proven not guilty, and that, I deserve to be hired again by WWE once this is all cleared up. The WWE has not made any new statements. They're just separating themselves from Enzo right now. And I think that this firing was just an accumulation of everything. As we already know, he has a lot of heat backstage. Undertaker doesn't like him. There's that whole thing with Roman Reigns threw him off the bus. He's still, to this day, even not to this day, but before the firing, he wasn't allowed in the locker room. So it's just a big mess with everything. Now, WWE didn't release any type of statement, but what word is saying that they was upset that Enzo never informed WWE about there being a police investigation. If you look at Rich Swann's case, he went to WWE and he said, this is what happened. This is the investigation. So if once everything breaks, I want you guys to already be on the same page. That's why they say that Rich Swann was right now suspended for his actions in pending the police investigation. But Enzo never reported it to WWE. He thought that the case would just be swept under the rug. He would be proven not guilty, and that was it. And they didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that this news got out before they found out. They couldn't jump ahead to do anything to prepare. So that is what people are saying in regards to that. So as of, what was it, like right a couple days after the news broke, of the suspension, he's been fired.
Yeah, but he admits that they did have sex, but he said it was consensual and his whole thing. And then there's other stuff. People were saying that she's a party girl and she talked about doing a lot of those type of things. Like she hangs out with those type of people. Not saying she was asking for it, but she's accustomed to those things. Like she even said in one of those things, like he was like, "Oh, we should have sex." She was like, "Well, let's get to know each other a little better. Then we'll see where it goes from there." So she's open to those things. So it's kind of kind of tough.
It was timelines that doesn't make any sense. She said that she was, so damaged by it that she went and sought psychiatric treatment for 26 days, but the days that which she was in and then when she checked herself out is not lining up to her statements. And also she claimed that they did an array of drugs, including crystal meth, which she says her interaction with it made her extremely drowsy. If anyone has known anything about crystal meth, it kind of has the opposite effect. So people are kind of confused about that as well.
Yeah, so in other words, the story is not quite adding up, but still, the fact that there was a police report said that there was some type of incident that Enzo was involved in. I did want to point out something real quick. I see we had Eric Mural in the chat. He had mentioned that Enzo's face was on a couple of the WWE trucks. They have already removed his face from those trucks.
They took him off the 205 entrance.
Oh, they did.
The entrance video, he was gone already from that. I'm like, man, they don't waste time.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. Hey, this is a serious. I mean, because considering the current climate of the world we are in today, a lot of these things are happening. A lot of stuff is getting out about people doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. Yeah. So I know they don't want to be involved in any of that. Mm-hmm. Although I will say this, and Dana, I know you mentioned earlier you didn't want to get in your feelings, but you had mentioned to me already that there are a lot of people in WWE that get away with stuff and they're still with the company.
Yes. We'll talk about Pat Patterson. Yep. All those allegations of raping, male wrestlers. We have Michael P.S. Hayes. We have a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Vince himself has stuff, that was going on in the past. Scott Hall, almost every other wrestler that you can ever think of, has something where it's not a clean record. So
I think it's just the timing. Like we said, it's the whole Me Too thing going on and that a lot of companies are being attacked. And then remember, we also had Vince McMahon coming out doing a whole press conference for the XFL. So it was an open press conference. So you got people calling and they were going to ask about that. And if he was still employed, they're going to be like, why are you keeping this guy who's raped this woman as a champion? You know what I mean? It's like, it's tough. So you know what? To avoid it, just let it go.
And I was wondering if his firing is also a direct correlation of the XFL, and we'll get into this later, but how it explains how he's not taking players with any type of record at all. So,
yeah, I don't even want to get into XFL, but everything he said just contradicts himself. I mean, it's going to be safer than NFL and stuff. Then why is it called Extreme Football League? You know, what I mean, it's like that makes no sense. Changing rules up and whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be safer, but we're going to speed up the game and we're going to get rid of halftime. I'm sure that's in the best interest of the player safety. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Doesn't make sense.
So, yeah. Enzo Amore did release a statement today, basically saying this. Over the last 2 days, Philomena Sheehan, which is the girl, has made multiple public accusations against Eric Arnett, also known as Enzo Amore with the WWE, including allegations of sexual misconduct concerning an October 2007 incident in Phoenix. Mr. Arnett fully and unequivocally denies those accusations. He is cooperating with the authorities in this matter and looks forward to having it resolved in a timely manner. Neither Mr. Arnett nor his counsel will be making any further public comments on this matter. So, there you go.
Yeah, very, very interesting statement. I do have one other thing I want to say, and then I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Ricky had anything to say. I just want to say, I look at how Enzo has been handled ever since he's been brought up to the main roster. And I like I said, I don't excuse him for any of the stuff he did. Like I said, he did anything wrong to this woman, he absolutely should pay for that. And I also will say, though, the way he has been handled in these storylines they had him in, it doesn't make him look like a good guy. Like I think about the Lana Rusev storyline, where you're basically trying to mess with another guy's wife. That's not a good image right there for the character.
Even the way he was talking down to what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. The commentator that got hurt, Corey Graves.
Oh yeah,
and talking about him and how with his injury and just putting him down when he did that one-on-one. Again, just making him look like a douche.
Yeah, and pretty much, obviously, when someone sees that and then they see when something happened to this guy in real life, well, the people who look at the character, they're like, well, maybe he does deserve that. So it's not a good look. I believe that Colin Cassidy, Big Cass, also released a statement, and he pretty much said Enzo is pretty much the same character you see on TV in real life. So that's not a good thing either. Go ahead.
And I remember months ago that there was a statement that TMZ was able to get with one of the strippers that Enzo basically jilted. He didn't pay. And she was describing in detail of his actions, and that it was very much the same of how he acts on WWE. And he was like, oh, I have 1 million Instagram followers, and you should, he was just really hyping himself up, and he was thinking that people, because of his connection to WWE, should basically bow down to him. And if you listen to the accuser's story and how the language that's used, it's very similar to the strippers, which is also very similar to Enzo when he does his promos. So it's just terrible all around.
Oh yeah, it is horrible. That's very interesting. So Ricky, do you have any thoughts on this topic? I know that you and I, we actually went to the Raw after WrestleMania when they actually called these guys up to the main roster. I feel like that was so long ago, but obviously it's nowhere now. That's done. But do you have any thoughts?
I got plenty. I did want to point out that going back to the earlier discussion when we were talking about the Revival, Revival is one of many NXT tag teams that were a big success in NXT that failed once they got called up to the main roster. Revival, the Ascension. I'd say American Alpha was a failure because they split them up too quickly. And we have to mention Enzo and Cass because they did nothing with them, really. They never put the belts on them. But I do remember that day being in that arena, and it was amazing. When Enzo got the mic, everyone went quiet because they just wanted to hear what Enzo had to say. He had that control over people in the ring, that kind of charisma when he speaks. He's not much as far as a wrestler in his own right, but definitely a very charismatic speaker. And it makes this development very unfortunate to hear about. Obviously, like I feel for a woman that was abused by him. Turns out to be true. The thing with Enzo and his WWE career is that regardless of whether the allegations end up being true or not, the fact that he never disclosed that to the company was the last straw. And that's just how it was, and goes to show that doesn't matter how talented you may be or how much merchandise you sell, there is a limit to what you can get away with in WWE, and Enzo definitely reached that limit. Another thing I wanted to point out was that this was a little while back. I want to say when Enzo won the Cruiserweight belt, there was a video on TMZ with him out clubbing, and he had the Cruiserweight belt with him, and it seemed like he was cutting a promo, talking about I don't need the locker room, I got my own locker room, and blah, 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 and things like that. And he sounded very much like the character, and I was thinking okay, this might be like one of those work shoot things where he's blurring the line. But now it's looking back on that may just be who he is. You look back at when Enzo and Cass split up, and Cass did that promo saying that Enzo, you always your mouth, you run your mouth and it gets you in trouble. He may have been talking truth there. There's maybe more truth to it than we thought, and it's kind of chilling looking back at all of that, really. It's the whole situation is unfortunate. No matter what you think of Enzo, whether you think the guy's a huge dick, or if you're a big fan, it's very unfortunate to see anyone have see their career ruined, and it's unfortunate if with this woman, regardless of what activities she engages in, no one deserves to have anyone being raped, have anything done against their will, I can only hope that this is just a fabrication, quite honestly, but who knows?
I find funny where some people are like, well, WWE is not going to really let him go because he'll just end up going to New Japan. I'm like, they don't want him. What are they going to do with him? Getting on the mic, talking to a bunch of Japanese people? You know what I mean? It's not going to work. It's all about in-ring performance in Japan. And he just can't, he can't perform on that level. So I don't see that as an option at all. If anything, he would be doing the indie circuit, and that might be a tough sell if he is proven guilty when it comes to this rate. Plus, I think he can get jail time too, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Isn't that what she's also going for?
Yeah. She put it the full charges, so that's jail time.
So that's a very unfortunate situation for Enzo. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
One other thing, some people saying is like, hey, this shows there is such thing as karma. It's like he's so bad, and it's like something like this comes back to bite you in the ass. And I guess
so. Let me make a quick comment. Again, Eric Morrill in the chat, he says that he said the Impact can take Enzo.
They'll take anybody, no matter what.
Yeah, there you go. So that could work out.
But that's what I'm saying. He's going to stay in the States, and he's not going to be making real money. Nowhere near that. I mean, that's the main reason why so many people are going. They just don't have the money like they used to. Yeah. So he would have to deal with that. And who knows? I don't know if he was big talking, but I know he's definitely getting some nice royalty checks from his merch sales. So
yeah. Well, I know X-Pac released a statement of all people. X-Pac has something to say about sexual assault. Obviously, he may or may have not done this. I am hoping it's the may not part. It will play out. The investigation will take its course, and either charges will be filed or they won't be. He should have got on top of this instead of stuffing it under the rug. And also quit putting yourself in situations every week of your life where something like this can happen, where you're leaving yourself open for anything to happen, which is, I have to agree with. Yeah.
He's still young, and I think that everything that's doing it reminds me of the basketball player who wanted to go against Big Show, Shaq. Shaq, who's talking about people with like new people, a lot of rappers he was talking about, was like called them new money, and he's like, they act foolish and they say a lot of foolish things because it's all new to them with the money. But once you start gaining that money at a consecutive pace and it's just coming in, you're not as loose with the lips and spending habits. And it felt like this was too much, too fast for Enzo. All the stuff coming at him and, him getting over with the crowd and all that stuff and the money coming in from the merch sales. And it was just too much. And he was letting it get to his head. Sort of like what Big Cass was saying. It was like, you're changing. He wasn't always like this, but he changed. This changed him. Money changed him. Fame changed him. So, I mean, we saw it with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was open about the same thing after, they broke up. I'm blanking out today. Remember the Rockers? And when they broke up and he went on solo and he was doing his own thing and he was selling his merch and he was getting more airtime and mic time, everything changed and he started drinking and partying more. And it just changed him. He had to take a step back to realize, wait, what's going on? And I think that's what happened with Enzo.
So in other words, to change what Enzo says, you can teach this type of stuff where you just become a completely different person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate.
On the plus side, we no longer have to see that Nia Jax storyline between those two.
Where was that going? You know what I mean? It's like that didn't seem like it was going. I don't get it.
I don't think it was going anywhere. It was just for Vince's amusement.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it was for Vince's amusement. And just like, and I will again give another shout out to Eric Merrill in the chat, because he said that Big Cass was repeating what WWE management's feelings are of Enzo. And I believe that statement is also true of, because I saw that Miz promo a couple of days ago when Miz went in on Enzo, and I was like, wow, I didn't even recall seeing that. So that's very interesting. But unfortunate. I did want to ask one more question before we move on to the next topic. So once again, I hope that we'll see what happens with the Enzo situation. Hopefully they find out that he didn't do anything, but I don't know. Like you guys said, karma comes around. It is what it is. But the question I want to ask is, do you guys still have faith in the Cruiserweight division? Because you mentioned this to me already, Adam. Look at how many people have left the Cruiserweight division.
Yeah. Just bring it up because I think I said this off the show. That is jinxed. We've seen so many injuries. We've seen so many talents just get up and leave, like Neville. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's tough. It's tough. And I think one thing I see as a positive is this general manager. It's going to bring some kind of structure, because think about it. It just felt like week after week, these guys were coming out. They're all talented. They're doing amazing moves, and they're just making it up as they go along. It never really felt structured, especially for people that watch a WWE network or just WWE in general. You're used to a certain structure. You're used to having a general manager who's like, the carnival dictator type of thing. Hey, this is what's happening. You don't see it. Even NXT eventually got one, and we have William Regal. It just brings structure to the show, and there was no structure. These guys would come out, they would shoot with little promos, they would start their own little feuds backstage. It didn't just really materialize into anything interesting, and a lot of the guys they brought in, quality indie guys, but not of the high caliber quality indie guys. They were known for doing some amazing work, but they weren't the standouts. You know what I mean? And I think that hurt. Some of the standouts that they did have, like Zack Sabre Jr., decided not to sign with them. So it's like, okay, there goes that. Don't worry, we'll bring some of our other guys down, like Neville and Kalisto and stuff, and try to do that. But even then, besides Neville, Kalisto never really hit that. He was part of the Lucha Dragons, but he never really caught on. Like they were pushing him like to be the next Rey Mysterio, and it just hasn't kicked off in that direction. And that's why, we talked about before, the whole fear with Ricochet. He's not a big guy. He's definitely a high flyer, but do we want to see him get put into a 5? I don't think they're going to do that. According to what he's telling his girl and stuff, it's a given that he's going to NXT. So it's like, okay, that's good, but still 205. What do they need? So you got a general manager coming. It's going to bring structure, and they need to just put some real writing behind these stories that they're doing with these guys. If you're going to put them out there like this, and I get it, it's like a catch-22, because when we saw that tournament, the Cruiserweight tournament, there were some amazing matches. You didn't need any story there. The story was being told in the performance and the ring. That's what everybody wanted. But then now when we see it day in and day out, it just feels kind of stale, like it's not going anywhere. And maybe that's it. Maybe because in the tournament, there was an end goal. They're working hard for an end goal. What's the end goal here? Enzo had the title. We started seeing where people placed up in that hierarchy of like, oh, are they important? Are they considered top guys or lower guys? They all seem to be lower guys, especially when he came out and he did that diss on all of them. It was like nobody can stand toe to toe with him. Are you basically saying that this guy who just talks to the mic is better than these guys who are amazing performers in the ring? So it's like a smack in the face to people that want to see that type of action, and it's like, well, I know I'm not going to see that because this is the direction they're going in. So it's going to be tough, but hopefully they do like a redesign, get the general manager, maybe get some writing on it, and figure out the talent structure, figure something out, because we got a lot of people getting hurt and a lot of people hurting others, and it's just got to figure something out. But remember, years ago, the whole reason why the Cruiserweight division disappeared is because so many injuries. Vince didn't like the high flying. Remember, was it Kevin Bourne? Aaron Bourne? I know it's Bourne.
Evan Bourne.
Evan Bourne. See, I'm dancing around.
Kevin. Yeah, Kevin sounds good.
Yeah, Kevin. It was so long ago, but he kept getting hurt, and eventually Vince was like, forget all of this high flying. It's too dangerous. These guys are doing these flips outside the ring stuff, and at some point he gave into it. That came back, and of course the women started doing it with Flair doing the whole thing over the side. That's so crazy. When she did that, started flipping and doing the moonsault to the outside. That's nuts. But that's what it needs. It needs a shot in the arm, and it needs some structure. And hopefully with the general manager, whoever that is, will give structure just for the show wise, quality wise on that. But yeah, besides that, it's jinxed.
Yeah, I think you pretty much summed that up perfectly. I am concerned about it. I made a joke about Tommy will probably be the next one that gets injured in that division, and then has to be taken off. I don't know what they're doing with Cruiserweight division right now. I guess we'll have to wait and see. The general manager thing I thought was interesting, and then I heard that they was considering having Summer Rae come in, but then they said, well, she's too tall. So I don't know what direction.
What, to be the general manager?
Oh yeah. I don't even know how that would even make sense for her to be the general manager. I mean, that'll be obviously for the guys out there that think she's attractive. That's something that they look at. Oh, a really nice woman. That'll get me to watch 205 live. But I don't think that's I don't really think that's the direction that they should go in. But I don't know.
It's on a network. They have to understand this show 205 is on a network, and that's for the fans of wrestling. I mean, true wrestling fans are the ones that subscribe to that. The casual that wants to tune in just to see some girls and stuff is not going to pay attention because he's not subscribing to that. He's not going to subscribe just because you have a hot female, general manager. So it's pointless.
I mean, you never know. You had that time early in 205 Live where it's like, Sasha Banks, the boss, is on 205 Live. And I think she was on for 2 episodes or something. They just wanted to increase interest or something. It was completely
to test it out to see how. I mean, that was the whole thing with Enzo, and it worked out, and so they gave him the belt. They were like, all right, well, this worked. Ratings went up, so we're gonna give you the belt.
Okay, Eric in the chat said, how about Rockstar Spud as the GM?
Yeah, there you go. What's up with that? He's been backstage for 2-3 weeks, and they haven't done anything with him. That's another one. Just put him on there. Yeah. They even signed Crazy Steve. That's months and months and months ago. I don't know what the hell they're doing with him. But there's another one who can go there. There's a bunch of guys that they have. But yeah, Rockstar Spud, definitely. So hopefully, well, not as general manager, but as a performer. I hope he didn't mean as general manager. But yeah, no. Yeah, hopefully that works out. And then, of course, we have other guys coming, but we'll see, man. We'll see. It's still time. Yeah. I just hope they don't kill it. That's the only thing I hope. Because then what? Then what happens to all the guys that are there? They either get let go or they go down to NXT? Nah, there's not enough time. That's only an hour show.
Well, no. All they have to do, if it doesn't work out, just have them become jobbers on the main roster and get beat up by everybody else. Yeah, that'll be fine.
Oh man, you know what they need to do then? It'll never happen, but it was sort of what they did with ECW with the Wrestler Exchange program. Because ECW at the time didn't have the budget to bring in new talent. So they were like, well, we need help. And so Paulie talked to Vince, and Vince, well, I have some guys and they need some repackaging and stuff. One of them was a big star like Rhino. Rhino came from WWE first, went over there, they repackaged him, gave him Rhino, made him a badass, boom, boom, poof, won a belt. They did with Al Snow. Al Snow got to do the head chant, They've done it with a few guys and it worked. And if only they would do something with one of the other promotions. Hell, even like Lucha. Do it with Lucha Underground, because Lucha Underground is big on the high flying. Get some of these lighter weight guys, send them over there, repackage them, do something. Just have an agreement that if they develop a popular gimmick, it is owned by WWE, that gimmick, and then have them come over with it. There you go. But they don't play nice with others right now. They just dominate. It's all about search and destroy.
That's right. Search and destroy. So, hey, we'll see what happens. Any final thoughts before we move on to the next topic? Dana, you have anything you wanted to add, or you good?
They need to just rebrand the whole thing. Hire everyone, start fresh, and just do that. It's like you said, it's cursed. There's really no reason for it to stand the way it is anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Ricky, you had one more thing you wanted to say, or we're going to move on to the next topic?
I was going to say about 205 is that It's really a shame because we have some really talented high flyers on there, but the problem is that you take them and you put them in that WWE environment, and it kind of cheapens it. With WWE, it's all about characters, and you don't really have characters in 205 Live. You have performers, but the thing is that we keep getting the same spiel every time of like the most exciting hour on sports entertainment. Oh wow, look at these guys go! And it's like it's always pretending like this is the first time that we've ever seen a cruiserweight match, and it gets to the point where I just tune it out. I just don't care. It's a strange thing of like you take these same guys and you take the same performances, but you put them in a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring with a New Japan audience. It's a whole different vibe. You think about the I don't know if any of you guys saw Wrestle Kingdom, that whole Super Juniors match was very, very exciting, and that's kind of what they're trying to do with 205, but it's under the WWE umbrella, and it's just something missing. The presentation of it and all that just not appealing to me, and it's definitely cursed, like you said. Some of the biggest names have all dropped off for one reason or another. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I just really don't.
Well, it's tough. It's a tough sell. It's definitely a tough sell, and they have to drop the 205 name, and then get rid of the whole supposed weight class, just have it where it's just a high flying, type of environment. That's it. Doesn't matter your weight. If you can flip a fly, hell, it would have been awesome back in the day to bring in Mike Awesome, because he would do like crazy flips, and that guy was like 6'7" or something. Would have been mind blowing, but whatever.
They need to stop treating the cruiserweights as a separate roster. They need to incorporate it with the main roster. If you have a match during an episode of Raw or SmackDown that happens to have two guys who are cruiserweights, then you do a cruiserweight style match, but you don't present it like it's its own special thing. It's just another match. Like they used to have the light heavyweight championship. They used to have matches like that, and they didn't change the color of the ropes for it or give it a certain thing. I feel like they're going a little overboard with the branding of like everything has to be branded. It's just another match. It can be an exciting change of pace, but that's how they should approach it. We'll see what they do.
I agree. Well, we'll see what they do. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Gary Swaby. He's actually in the chat right now. Also, yeah,
Gary.
Mr. Gary A. Swaby.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get him on a future episode at some point in time. But yeah, let's move on to the next topic, because we still have some predictions to get into. Obviously, the XFL announcement. Now we already know that this is not, as Adam said, it's not wrestling related. But
he even said it. Well, that's a funny thing, and that's what caught a lot of people off guard in that. He said this will probably be the last time he represents the company in an open forum like this. And they were taken back. One guy was like, but you're the main guy. I mean, this is you. Just like with WWE, this is your thing. And he's like, no, I'm in charge of the company, but I'm hiring other people to run it. They're taking a different approach than what they did with the XFL. And for those who remember that, Jim Ross every once in a while and would come in to announce a football game. A lot of wrestlers would show up at the events and stuff. And he's like, no, they're two separate things. This is a separate budget. This is his own company. This is Vince McMahon, not the character. This is just Vince McMahon, the businessman, with a new project, a new business venture. And he's going to sit out. He's just letting the world know, hey, this is it. This is what I'm starting. I have $100 million invested in this. I have some other partners I'm bringing in on this. And I'm going to put other people in place. There will be a spokesperson, and it will not be him. It will be someone else.
Okay, I have a comment to make, and then I'm going to let Dana go because I know she has something to say about XFL. I don't believe Vince at all on that statement, because we already know that this guy is a control freak. Mm-hmm. Just like when they had this whole thing with making SmackDown Live, and he said, oh, well, I'm going to be hands off. Then once it started to get closer to WrestleMania, he decided to jump in and get involved with that. And this is why SmackDown is not as good as it was when they first had the brand split now. So I think if he sees that XFL starts out pretty rocky, you know, because he said he's going to live forever, right? You know, 2020, he'll still be around, according to him. But if he sees the XFL starting to get a little rocky, I think he will step in and try and do some stuff, because I don't think much like another person who I'm pretty sure we will mention, who is also our president, they don't like to lose. So I know Vince has that mentality as well. He doesn't like to lose. He was trying to do as much as possible to stay competitive. So I think if he sees that something's happening with this thing, he's going to step in and try to do something.
Just what you said. It's like, that's why it just made no sense when he was like, yeah, you know, I'm starting anew. This is a whole new rebranding of everything. Then why is it still called XFL? You know, it's just, in his mind, he just couldn't get it over his head. And one of the guys said, it's like, technically football's a flooded market. You got college, you got arena football, you got the Canadian Football League, and now you're bringing this, and of course you got the NFL. And it's like, no, this is going to be special. This is going to be different. You know, and they were like, oh, so you're going to run in when it's during the off-season NFL? No. We're starting in January. Then what? What's going on here? Whatever. All right, you can go, Dana. I don't know.
Yeah, Dana, the floor is yours. I know you got a lot to say on this topic, so this is your forum. To go ahead.
I am so split right down the middle, where it's like, yay, I kind of understand why he would do this. This is his one project that failed, and it wasn't even of his own doing. NBC pulled out. He still wanted to give it a go, and I strongly believe that even if NBC never pulled out, he would still, to this day, be FXLing it. I'm split, as I previously said. I love this because, hey, do you, boo? The more that you spend time focusing on this, we don't have to see you in WWE. So for me, that's a good thing. But there are some rules and some technicalities that have me rolling my eyes, that I do not understand how this is even plausible. But I will just go through it really quick. And yeah. So as we know, Thursday, Vince McMahon announced that he is giving the FXL another try that ran for one season in 2001. But this time we're not getting of the cheerleaders that we had, the ridiculous backstage antics, the locker room thing that had, you know, with the fights, and then the women came, and then the hot tubs and the jacuzzis. We're not getting any of that.
And all that stuff, the weird names on the back of jerseys.
He did not say that we was not getting it.
I think we get rid of that.
No, here's the thing why I love the fact about the nicknames. I have no idea, still to this day, who was He Hate Me. But I can tell you, He Hate Me, and I know that he was the player in the XFL, who later went on to play in the NFL, and I can tell you that, but I have no idea what his real name is. I think for me, nicknames were such a sticking point that it just made me, it was with the game. I loved that aspect. It made it so different. So for me, I liked it. But yeah, so what he said was that he wanted to do this since today they stopped doing the other one, which I strongly believe. And this time there will be no partners. It is strictly funded by him, which will allow him to look in the mirror and say, you were the one who screwed this up, or you made this thing a success. The man said that he is the sole funding source for the league, which will begin, as you guys said, in 2020. So they have 2 years to figure it out. The first season will have 8 teams around the country playing a 10-week schedule. He's expected to spend around $100 million, which is the same amount WWE stock, which is the same amount that Vince McMahon had in WWE stock that he sold last month. So that's what he used the money for. He has no talks with any media entities. He wants it, however, to be on all platforms, the big screen to your phone. So maybe we might get something on Facebook Live. Remember, we have that whole Facebook Watch situation that's happening. So maybe he's going to put it on there as well. He wants it to be fan interactive. So I don't know what the heck that means, but that's what he wants as well. He then said that the games will be faster, that it will be safer, and that he is speaking to the top scientists, you know, the not scientists, but like the, I don't know, what do you call it? Brain specialist and and physical therapist type people.
Football experts, he kept saying.
Yeah.
All these random experts that he's going to speak to so that the game will be much safer than it is in the NFL, and there will be no concussions whatsoever because, you know, it's the greatest experts in the entire world, whatever. Now, very interesting. People did bring up that, you know, we all know that Vince is very close with Donald Trump. And we know that Donald Trump has recently criticized the NFL for allowing its players to kneel and, you know, for other stuff. But Vince said that they had to ask him repeatedly because he would not answer this right away. But there will be no kneeling and that everyone must have a good record. He says that he is striving for players to be like Tim Tebow. So read in between the lines there, which, you know, that's one thing. But I don't even see how that's plausible. He does, unless he starts recruiting from college players, and it's an alternative for you able to come in. You come in from the college. You're playing. I guess you keep a squeaky clean record. Maybe you'll have endorsement deals. You're able to make money because everybody knows you're not able to make any money, you know, in between the times you're playing college. So you're able to do that, and then you leave and you go to the NFL. Yeah. So
I think he's going to get a lot of players from Europe. I think there's a lot of players. There's a lot of leagues and stuff out there in Europe, and I think that's what's going to happen. This will be the gateway. This will be the door.
Well, it has young kids. I mean, you're having people that he's saying that, you know, you're not allowed to have a record. You know, you have to be squeaky clean. Not even a DUI. He said not even.
Yeah, no, I heard that. Yeah, he said it. Not even
so,
a DUI.
Yeah.
So that means that Johnny Manziel definitely ain't going to get in this league. Then.
But I don't even believe that. I don't believe that. It's like.
But people have to point out, you know, you can't do this because of your record. So yeah, that happened. And then he also said, as I don't know if I said it before, you will not be allowed to kneel because everybody was asking what's going on. He said it's going to be written in the playbook and that everyone is going to in the rule book and that everyone's going to get a copy of this rule book. I guess it'll be online as well so that you know whether or not these rules would apply to you so that you don't jump out and, you know, join this league and it's against something that you stand for. So if this does not follow you, please don't join our league is basically what he's saying. What it was also complaining about was that, you know, as I said, they're going to cut down on the time frame. He wants it to be very limited or no commercials at all. And that he was upset about, you know, the average game time in NFL is about 13 minutes. So he wants us to be, I guess, 2 hours of full blown, you know, actual football. There's going to be a new song. The new song, let's see, it's going to start from January to either January or early February. They're looking at around 3 seasons. He kept saying repeatedly that Trump is not involved at all.
Because Trump had a team in the last league and the other team, so.
The FLs, oh gosh.
The UFL.
USC. Yeah. It's like something.
The USFL, yeah.
Yeah, UFL,
yes.
Yeah.
And also really interesting, if you look at the new XFL logo, it is designed to look like the American flag. So take it as you will. With that, he's, you know, it's going to be very patriotic. And yeah, I'm in the middle. I don't think that this is going to work, but I know that this is something that he was passionate about since 2000 with the original FXL. I do know that if you watch the documentary, this was the FXL on the ESPN channel, that he kept saying that he wanted to bring it back and that it was something that wasn't his fault. He never took blame. He said that they made mistakes, but if NBC never pulled out, it would still be playing to this day. So
I have a theory.
FXL coming to live to you. I don't know. This is
I have. All right, so you know that right now they're in talks of switching and moving the Raw and SmackDown off of USA Network, and one of the ones that are in talks with is Fox. And what does Fox own? FX1, Fox Sports. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking
Mhm.
that if they do switch over and they sign some kind of deal, that deal is also going to include the XFL. So then he won't have that problem like he had before. And it'll be guaranteed in a contract, and he definitely gets airtime. And then that solves a lot of things. Not only is it on their on the channel on cable, but then it'll also be available on the app, which means it's also available on tablets and it's available on the go. So I think that if he can get that deal tied in, I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to see Raw and SmackDown move over to Fox.
Ugh.
Very good theory. Very good theory,
You know.
because I keep hearing about that Fox deal.
Yeah, because it just makes more sense. I mean, they've tried other things with NBC Universal. Remember, they did Main Event. They put that on their main network on NBC, on the Channel 4, just NBC network for those people that know that one. And it didn't work out. Those events never worked out. They've tried all kinds of specials. It just doesn't work. You know, so it's like, all right, well, we tried other things, and when they've been with them for years. Remember, they left for a long time, and they were with Spike and did that whole thing, and then they went back. You know, and maybe it's their time to move. And I think this would be, sweetening the pot. I was like, all right, well, I got this other venture. You signed this venture, and it's sports related. And also Fox, that's the thing. Even though fans pay a lot to go to NFL games, TV rights are also ridiculous for NFL games. So I'm sure that channels like networks like Fox will be like, hey, you know what? Let's give this a shot. Because if this kicks off, then we'll have it on network. We'll get the viewership, and it's still football. It's still the sport. So it's not going to hurt. Let's go for it.
But if no one watches it, will they still get the rights to pull it? Can they cancel it?
Well, that's all in the contract. That's all in the contract. He could probably have it where no, you can't.
So
you move it to the network, or you move it to like it's some other method, or do something where it's like streaming. It's available for stream, but it's not going to be on TV.
But is that a win for any network if they don't have that right?
What right? No, well, that's the thing. You're getting that, but you're getting something that's guaranteed to bring viewers, which is WWE product. That's guaranteed at least 1 million or 2 million views, every week.
But the original one, I mean, everyone tuned in and then they just died.
But it all depends on what he has structured. Right now, he says they don't have anything, and I think that's BS. That's he has nothing to give out to the public. But I'm sure behind the scenes, because there's no way you say, you know what, I'm going to start this company with $100 million. What do you got? I don't know. We'll figure it out. No, he has a plan, and now it's just putting that in motion. And I'm sure he had other people around him and said, yeah, we can make this work. Get the money. Let's do it. So that's it. And we bring it in. This whole thing, I still think the XFL, the name should have changed because it wasn't around that long for it to be like a household brand name, but apparently he thinks so. But then he also said that he wasn't bringing back the names like the New York Hitmen and the Chicago Enforcers, that they're not bringing that back. And that, the people are like, you're going to play at, we'll play at different stadiums. And the one plus side that wasn't available there is the MLS, Major League Soccer. A lot of those teams, it's 22 teams. A lot of them have their own stadium. Those fields are 110 yards wide. Football fields only 100 yards. So they could definitely play in those stadiums. But the thing could be with the timing of the games, because the MLS season starts in March. So I'm sure they could figure something out. But there's more options to play is what I'm getting at. Before it was just, you just had the football fields for NFL teams, but now you have options and you don't have to rely on just baseball fields as an alternative. So we'll see. We have 2 more years, 2 years to figure all this out, and those 2 years can fly by. I know a lot of people want it to fly by. So
good points. All right. Any thoughts you want to add, Ricky, before we move on?
I have plenty of thoughts, actually. So he's never gonna hear this podcast, so I can just say it. Fuck off, Vince.
Whoa.
Just fuck off.
Oh,
like seriously, this whole thing with the XFL, right? The timing of it is not just a coincidence. This is a response to the kneeling that was happening in the NFL. This whole emphasis of like whenever in the press conference they were asking about, what about the kneeling that was happening during the anthem? What's going to be the response to that? And he always tried to kind of sidestep it, but he would mention like, it's a time-honored tradition, and we're going to have certain rules in place, and players are going to have to follow those rules. He's very flat out. He's flat out dog whistling to a certain base that this is what you're going to get with the XFL. And the thing is, like, without getting too political about this, the XFL, if you'll remember, in its original version, was trying to be everything that the NFL wasn't, and not much has changed since then. They're still trying to be what the NFL isn't, but they're trying to do it in a different way. They were trying to present it back then as edgier, more action packed and willing to take risks and everything like that. Now it's going to be, we're going to play it safer, but we're going to do it faster. We're going to everything that you hate about the NFL, we're not going to have in the XFL. It's going to be a utopia for professional football. But when presented with questions of how this is going to be implemented, he has zero clue on it whatsoever. He said, well, I'm going to pay experts money to figure this out, and we've got 2 years to figure this out. Why, if you got something that you want to get done right, why rush it? Unless it's all about capitalizing on the timing. And I really feel as though, yes, he's hurt about the XFL failing back then, and he's always wanted to feel like it wasn't really a failure. We just needed to have a real chance to show what we can do. I'm sure he's had that in the back of his mind that he wants to give it another shot. But this whole Kaepernick stuff is just like, oh, okay. And now we've got 45 in office. It's like, let's see if I can capitalize on this and bring a whole new, fan base in and see how they respond to this XFL. He has no clue what he's doing as far as how to make this work. All he knows is that he has the money to try to get it in motion. Don't forget, he had the WBF, the bodybuilding thing.
Yeah, I remember bodybuilding.
And that was a complete failure. So it's not the first time that he's tried something outside of wrestling and it went and completely blew up in his face. There's only one thing about the XFL, the original one, that turned out to make things better for professional football, and that's the field cam. The whole point of view of having the cameraman on the field. That was a new thing, and now you see it kind of being used in NFL broadcasts, and it's kind of changed the way it's
that extra camera. I always remember that.
Yeah.
And locker room as well.
Oh, you mean like the locker room access and stuff?
Yeah, he had mics on everybody. There was mics everywhere, so you could hear the coach and you could hear the players and strategize and do the whole thing. So
yeah, I know that was kind of neat. So like that aspect was cool. Before I forget, I was going to mention that the person that was He Hate Me that Dana forgot about. His name is Rod Smart. Rod Smart.
Yeah,
and he had a decent career as a kick returner for the Carolina Panthers, and he even played in the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots. Yeah, he was one of the very few XFL players who did decently. Tommy Maddox, who won the MVP.
Maddox, he was a quarterback.
He was a quarterback, and for the Steelers for 1 year, starter, and it turned out well for him. And then there's just one more thing I want to mention about the XFL before we change topics. Did you guys see or listen to that introductory teaser trailer where it was kind of like a rap?
Yep. Yeah.
And it's when I listened to it, I knew it sounded familiar, and I was like, wait a minute. WWE 2K18, Snoop Dogg's rap. It's the same damn thing. Listen to both of those, and you'll see exactly what I mean. It's the same damn thing.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Be stronger, be harder, be faster. That thing.
Yeah. This is the XFL. Instead of be like no one. Like it's the same template of thing. And it's just like come up with something fucking original. So yeah, that's my rant. Vince, thank you for WWE for all its warts, but about the XFL, seriously, fuck off. That's all I gotta say about that.
Well, He's living his dream. That's the way I see it. This is just something he wanted to do, and he has the money to do it. Obviously this is expendable cash. This $100 million. So he's like, you know what? Let's see what we can do. If it fails, whatever.
And he's probably realizing his own mortality on top of it. He wants to see it. We'll see.
But I wonder this: will WWE just end up being one of a vessel that funds FXL?
No. Not with the investors that they have, because it's a public traded company, WWE. They won't allow that.
Well, that's the other thing, is that I don't believe Vince when he says that there's not going to be any kind of crossover. Maybe they won't use, they won't do a thing like they had when they had The Rock come out there, or had Jim Ross and all that stuff. Maybe they won't do anything like that. But you're absolutely going to get XFL advertisements or promotions during WWE programming. There's too much money involved not to.
Yeah. That's free advertising. But that's not too much of a crossover. That's just ads. So
yeah. Plus, to go along with what you just said, I don't believe that either, because this is the same guy that said, "Oh yeah, Survivor Series. This is the only pay-per-view where Raw and SmackDown superstars can face off against each other." And here we are. We have the mixed match challenge, which completely kills that theory, and we have the Royal Rumble coming up, which also will kill that theory. So yeah.
And we used to have the bragging rights pay-per-view, which was the only time that Raw and SmackDown face each other. Don't believe a word he says.
I agree. Yeah, great thoughts all around on this particular topic. Any final things to add before we move on to NXT TakeOver Philadelphia?
No, just I hate it.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Take it easy.
So when Vince starts sending out XFL tickets, I will tell him, don't bother sending us any. That's what I'll.
We can go. I can hate me stands.
Okay. All right.
She hate me or something.
Yeah, she hate me. Well, I just hope that he doesn't name any team she hate me, because then Spike Lee will be coming after him with a lawsuit. So we'll see about that. Okay, so now we're going to get into NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. This is the event that is taking place tomorrow night on the WWE Network for only $9.99. No, they're not paying me to say that. And there are other ways to watch it if, in case you can't afford it. But I'm not going to endorse that here tonight. But yeah, pretty much NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. There are 5 matches currently planned. I don't really know if we're going to get any surprises in between those matches, but we're going to go through some of these matches real quick and give our own predictions as to who will win. So the first match of the night, and this is by far the match that Adam is looking forward to the most of every match that has been announced. We have Cassius Ohno versus Velveteen Dream. So who do you see winning this match, Adam?
Velveteen Dream. He has to. He's the one that's right now moving up. Cassius Ohno is the stepping stone. He's quality, and that's why they brought him in, because he's quality stepping stone. He's not what we know as a traditional jobber, but he knows his role. He knows his place, and it is what it is. But Dream is moving up quick. So I definitely see Dream going over on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go next. I believe ever since I heard Cassius Ohno's "Oh No," that was what I thought when they brought this guy back. And I saw how out of shape he was, the ridiculous attire he had. But you know what? It's all good. I guess he has some fans, but there's no way in hell.
He's been around so long. That's why. People know this is an indie legend who never really made it, but he was there. Part of the whole CM Punk Colt Cabana crew, and this is it. Yeah,
this is it, because he was supposed to be in the Shield before, right? Yeah, that was the guy they were going to put in the Shield. So okay, well, his time has passed. Velveteen Dream, I agree 100% with that, especially after the last match that he had with Aleister Black. People are still talking about that was one of the best matches on that whole card. So yeah, Velveteen Dream is on the rise. So I got to give it to Patrick. Patrick from Tough Enough. He's going to win. How about you, Ricky?
I'm going with Velveteen Dream over Chris Hero. Screw Cassius Ohno. It's such a stupid name. Yeah, that was.
He was also, wasn't he also in Beyond the Mat, that documentary? He was in that too. He was one of the wrestlers. I'm pretty sure he was one of the wrestlers in that.
Yeah, I think he was.
That's the one that had Mick Foley in it. Right?
Yeah, that was the one that had Mick Foley.
He might have been. I don't remember, but I know that he was wrestling around that time as well.
Let me see. Hold on, I'll look it up. You keep going. So.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Dana, who was your pick?
Velveteen.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's a unanimous decision with that one. So yeah, we all got Velveteen. We'll see if any of us are wrong, but I highly doubt that. We're going to move on to the next match, which is the Undisputed Era. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, the current NXT Tag Champions, going one-on-one with the Authors of Pain. If I had to make a guess as to who will win this match, I think Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. These guys are obviously they're very much behind the Undisputed Era, so I think these guys will retain because I would have thought the Authors of Pain would have already gotten called up, and that very well may still happen soon. But I don't see Authors of Pain getting them belts back, and I'm also surprised Sanity is not on this card at all, which I also find interesting. So, but I think the Undisputed Era will come out of this match the winners. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Authors of Pain should have come up a long time ago. They should have came up after War Games. I just don't see why they're just lingering around there. And the only thing I could think of is that old saying, creative has nothing for you. And I think that's what's going on here. They just don't know what to do with them. And I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. They're a heel team. They're big and they're a heel team. Put them anywhere. I mean, especially with Vince, he loves those big guys. They'll definitely get over. So I say put them on Raw because Raw doesn't have that many heel teams. We're at the Bar, we're still dealing with that again. So put them there. But yeah, I see them as going down on this one in Colorado and Fish retaining. Plus, it's their time. They have to get over with the crowd. They have to put in the time and they have to retain those belts. So yeah,
absolutely. All right, Ricky, how about you?
I would say that the Undisputed Era retains the tag belts over Authors of Pain. Who knows whether that means that Authors of Pain will get called up or not. I just think it's too soon to take the tag belts off of O'Reilly and Fish. So I think they retain.
Yeah, good pick. How about you, Nana?
I'm going with Era. Undisputed Era.
Yeah, so unanimously, those are without a doubt the picks that we have for that match. Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds good to me. Next up, we have Ember Moon defending the NXT Women's Championship against Shayna Baszler. I also am going to say something that was already said on the show. I think it's way too soon to have Ember Moon lose that belt. However, there is going to be at least one match I think we're going to get a surprise finish because there's always some type of match that you get some type of unpredictable ending. So if it was to happen in this case, that'll be very interesting. I mean, they do have to build up the roster for the women's division in NXT. So if Baszler did win, I would be totally fine with that because, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, this is a surprise. But I'm going to say I think Ember Moon may retain. Yeah. But I will say if Shayna Baszler does win, then, of course, you can revisit that whole feud that she had with Kairi Sane. So that's an option. But I'm going to say for now, I think Ember Moon retains. Just my opinion. How about you, Adam?
Man, this is a tough one because I can see. All right, so we know the whole thing that's happening with Paige and her injury. So that leaves an opening. Right, an opening for someone to come in to fill that void as a heel and as a leader of that faction. And Shayna fits perfect when you think of that. She's big, she's strong, she's tough, she's believable. So she would fit that role. But then I don't know if they're going to keep Paige around. I mean, if they keep her around, that's fine and all, but what role is she playing? She's still coming down to the ring dressed to wrestle. You know what I mean? It's like, but she's not. They keep saying it. Even last SmackDown. I was like, oh, she's not participating in this match. She's just here for moral support or something like that. I'm like, oh, how long is that going to last? You know, so it's like it just makes sense in that respect to bring Shayna up, you know, and she's more, it's going to put more eyes on the women's division, you know, especially if they play off all the stuff that she did, you know, in MMA. Now, Amber Moon, just for me, just falls in line with the rest of the girls, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch. She's just one of the girls, you know what I mean? She's a good wrestler, she's great, but she's not, she doesn't stand out, you know, and so I think that if anything, she retains, Shayna moves up, Shayna shows up in the women's Royal Rumble, you know, and she comes up, and then the other girls help her, and then we find out that she's the new leader or something like that. That's in my fantasy booking. That's what happens, you know. But if that happens, in which who knows? But Amber Moon, like you said, I think she should keep it. She dropped it last time when she quickly won it, so it's not fair that, you know, she has to drop it again this quick. So that's why I assume she wins. Shayna then moves on. You know, she has a falling out or something. I remember, what's his name? Regal threatened to saying, "Oh, no, this is not how things are done here," and this whole thing, as if like he was going to do something about it if she kept attacking. So maybe she loses. She starts going to town on Moon, beating her up, and then he just fires her and says, "You got to go, get out." So she leaves, and then you find out she got picked up by SmackDown or Raw or something.
That's a very good theory. Very good possibility. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, how about you, Ricky?
Well, I think that's a very exciting theory of having Shayna take Paige's spot, you know, get onto the main roster and everything. It would be a very, very aggressive promotion for them to do that. I think that they're going to go with a little bit more seasoning for her, especially considering that there's so many big names already in the women's division on the main roster that there's no real need to put her onto the main roster just yet, especially if they have big plans for her in the future. It's better to leave her to be the big fish in NXT rather than to get lost in the shuffle on the main roster. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to go a little bit against the grain here. I'm going to say that Shayna pulls off the upset and beats Ember Moon for the title, which will lead to Ember getting a rematch at a future TakeOver to kind of extend that. I think Shayna would have retained it, and I'm spoiling my prediction for later. Shayna retains it then, and Ember Moon gets the call up later on. See, Ember Moon can get called up, and she would kind of blend in, I think, with the roster right now. I think with Shayna, you need to save her because she can be something really special. But she needs to really start to make a name for herself in NXT, and that starts with winning the championship there. So I'm going to say Shayna is their new NXT Women's Champion.
Good theory. Okay, how about you, Dana? Oh, you're muted.
She's thinking about it.
Sorry, I'm muted. I had like a whole monologue that just was muted. No, I like both of you guys' theories, but let's just be honest here. WWE is not going to think that creative. So I'm going to just go with very simple. Ember, she retains, and that's just it. And they continue whatever they have going on in NXT. Maybe somewhere around WrestleMania, Ember might get a call up, but not now.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. All right, Dana, I'm actually going to go to you next on this next one because we're going to have a little bit of suspense because we all know that Adam is a huge Aleister Black fan, so I'm going to get his opinion a little bit later. But the next match, we have Aleister Black going up against Adam Cole. So, Dana, who do you think is going to win that match?
I want to say Adam Cole, but I actually am going to go with Aleister Black. I just feel that it's just his chance right now. And I like everything that's going on with him. And he needs that win. So I'm going to go with him.
Sounds good. Okay, Ricky, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo the Aleister Black sentiment. I think that him having lost to Gargano was such a big shock. He can't afford to lose any more momentum. So, beating Adam Cole, and I think it'll be a close match. Adam Cole will look good in defeat, but we're gonna go with Aleister on this one.
Yeah, I also am going to say Aleister Black. Although I will say that, either this match or the next match, we definitely will see whoever is going to be the next person that they use. So maybe Ricochet or whoever the next person that they're going to have in that main event spot, they're going to be in either this match or the next match, without a doubt. But Aleister Black is on a momentum. I believe you said last week, Ricky, and we'll get into this later, you want to see Aleister Black in the Royal Rumble. I want to see that also because I'm curious to see how they will use this guy. But I think he's going to win. If he doesn't win, maybe they have plans to call him up sooner rather than later. But I think Aleister Black definitely will come away with the victory. And now, how about you, Adam?
Oh man, here we go. This is my fantasy booking. So this is what I envisioned. Right. So remember, he beat Adam Cole clean, right, just a few weeks ago. So that's been done. So I have a feeling he's going to lose this one because Bobby Fish or somebody's going to get involved. O'Reilly, they're going to get involved. Something's going to happen. He's going to lose. But I still have this other feeling that he is going to enter the Rumble. I think they're going to just skip all the other stuff going on for the title and move him up. Because right now, they have a lot of guys competing for the title in NXT. There's a lot of top guys there, when it comes to the heavyweights and doing that whole thing, that whole vibe. It's there now. It's packed. As before, it was just like one or two names. Now you got a lot of big guys. And I think the roster, whether small, Raw or SmackDown, they need someone like Black. And they see that. And he's instant money. The entrance works, everything, his character, his moves, everything is work. He is packaged, ready to go. If you think of like a total package, think about it. He has it. He's good. This is it. He didn't need to work on the mic. I hate the fact they even put him on the mic that one time and put him in a suit. Bad idea. Keep him like the Undertaker, have him that dark vibe, and that's it. Everything works for this guy. Throw him in the Rumble. Fine, he loses that one, he goes straight up. Some people are like, oh no, we know the pattern, but I just squashed that pattern about how the guys have to win a belt and then they go up, and I talked about it with Elias. He didn't win the title. He lost a bunch of matches. Next he's on the main roster, and he's in big matches. I think it would work perfect. And some people may think it's rushed, but it's not rushed because Aleister Black had a lot of great matches already, over in the NXT. This will be great for him to move him up. So I see him as losing this one, showing up at Royal Rumble, then maybe going putting him in SmackDown or Raw. It doesn't really matter. He's going to be a big star anyway. They can't mess him up. He's one of those characters where right off the bat, everyone's going to be sold. It's not like Gloria, it's Bobby Roode, all that. It's kind of tough sell because you got to get into the whole gimmicky, schmimmy type of thing. No, this is solid. This is a badass walking out and doing some badass moves. Everything fits for him. And then just his appearance, everything just fits. You know what I mean? Nothing feels forced. It feels legit and it works. That's why it's like when I see him coming down and doing everything, I get that Undertaker presence. It's like he came down, he handled his business in the ring. Everything felt right and believable and legit. And that's what I get from Aleister Black. Nothing feels forced. Nothing feels like he's trying too hard to be something he's not. Obviously with all the tattoos, those are not, paint-ons or anything. Those are legit, and there's a lot of crazy demons and monsters and stuff. So he's living it, and it's in him for the darkness, so it works. And that's my theory right there, that he does get called up and he makes an appearance in a Royal Rumble. So Cole wins.
I look forward to seeing that. And yeah, Adam Cole, like we said earlier, the Undisputed Era, they're on momentum, so they have to keep them hot. So I can see that happening. We'll see. That's a good theory. Okay, and we're moving on to the main event of NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, which is Andre Cien Almas the current NXT champion, versus Johnny Gargano. So I want to go first, and I'm going to throw my fantasy booking in. When they announced this match, I only thought of one thing. When I heard that Johnny Gargano was getting a shot, I only thought of one thing. Tommaso Ciampa is coming back really soon. Yep. So I could see him interfering in this match and causing this guy to lose, or I could see Johnny Gargano winning and then defending that belt against Tommaso Ciampa in a main event at the next TakeOver before WrestleMania, which would be very awesome because I believe that will be 1 year since they split. I don't know if it's, I got to check that timeline, but that'll be great from a storytelling perspective. But whatever happens, I do feel Tommaso Ciampa is definitely going to get involved in this match. I haven't heard any reports about how his health is at the current moment. And maybe they have been keeping that quiet for a reason. But he definitely is going to be coming back soon. And I definitely think that he will get involved in this match. He will either cost Gargano or he will be facing Gargano for that title at the next NXT TakeOver. But I think Gargano is such a great guy when it comes to losing matches. He's trying to have his moment where he finally wins the big one. So I think it will be very interesting if they decide to give him the belt. But again, there's still unfinished business with Almas and McIntyre. And I'm going to say something about that a little bit later. But I think for right now, I think Gargano is going to maybe lose this match. And it's going to be because Ciampa interferes. So that's my guess. How about you, Adam?
I could care less about who wins this one. Think about it. Like, it just doesn't spin off anything. I was thinking the same thing with Ciampa coming back and that he was going to interfere, and then they would just go back into that whole feud, which was just starting when he got hurt. So I could see that happening, and then Velveteen Dream jumps in, and he wants that belt, and it interferes. Either way, I don't see Johnny Wrestling winning this. I just don't see it. And does he deserve it? Sure, everybody deserves to get that belt. Why not? But it just, for progression of story, I don't see it. It doesn't make sense. If he does get it, then what? Tommaso Ciampa comes back and wants a title shot? That doesn't make sense. There's other people in line for it. What's his name with the big chin from Colorado? The big brute guy. Shoot, I'm drawing a blank with his name. But there's other people that deserve that shot. And then, of course, you got Adam Cole, and they're moving him up to the main event status. So it just doesn't fit. So.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised because I would have thought that Adam Cole was going to immediately get a shot after he interfered in the Drew McIntyre match a while back. But I guess they're, taking their time with that. But yeah, that's good. Good theory. How about you, Ricky? What do you think is going to win this match?
I think that I'm going with the same theory that you have, that Ciampa costs Gargano the match. Cien Almas retains, holds the belt to NXT TakeOver New Orleans. And I think also that in NXT TakeOver New Orleans is when we'll get the big Gargano versus Ciampa match. I think that's what they're saving that up for. So, yeah, I think Almas retains. I don't know if Drew will be ready to return in time for New Orleans. But yeah, I think it's going to be Andrade Almas retains the belt.
Sounds good. Okay, Dana, how about you?
Yeah, he retains. I don't really see anything, major, some type of switch up happening here. He's going to retain, and everything is going to happen at WrestleMania. So when we start seeing the big stuff.
The guy that you're thinking about, I think it's Lars Sullivan.
That's it, Lars Sullivan. I was just going to look it up too. I was like, what's his name? Because what was going to come to me, because he was also one of the DLCs, paid DLCs for 2K18. And that's another one they're giving a big push. It's all big guys, you know what I mean? So it just doesn't fit with either one of these guys lasting as champ. So, and Adam Cole, yeah, not that big of a guy, but he has a faction. He has two other guys that always help him out. So it's okay.
Absolutely. Oh, we'll see. So definitely looking forward to NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. If you do watch wrestling, or if you don't watch wrestling, and you are having a hard decision deciding which event to watch, I will highly recommend you watch NXT TakeOver. I mean, Royal Rumble can be okay, but TakeOver is always better than the main card. So I will highly recommend that you definitely check it out if you are able to do so tomorrow night. And we'll revisit those reactions to that a little bit later. So let's move on now to the big topic for tonight, and the final topic, which is our predictions for the actual Royal Rumble itself. Now, prior to starting this recording, there were 3 other pre-show matches announced. So we'll probably speak about those briefly before we get into the actual card, because that's going to be very easy to figure out some of those other things. So pre-show match that we do have confirmed now, we do have Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus The Revival. Since we already spoke about The Revival earlier, I'm going to just go ahead and say right now, they will lose that match once again, because the focus is on Balor Club and whatever the plans are that they have for Balor Club. So I think that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson will definitely win that match. Once again, that's my thoughts. How about you, Adam?
This, if they're really talking about this whole new degeneration type of vibe around the club, then this will be the day. You know, something big happens here, and that's where the new music comes in. That's where Finn Balor comes in with his new attitude toward everything, and they become a legit group. You know, same thing. I see them going over. There's no way they're gonna lose. There's no way. Not after what just happened, you know, on Raw. It doesn't make sense. You know, you have to ride high. You know, that was the thing with the New Age Outlaws. Remember, they were just killing it for the longest time. You know, they had everybody, whether they were cheating or not, you know, because they had the other, you know, Shawn Michaels, Triple H interfering, whatever. But they were the top team. You know, and a lot of people didn't see. I never thought Road Dogg was that good in the ring. I thought he was all showboat. You know, it's just all show. But it didn't matter. You know, and they moved up. And if they're gonna make the club like a legit group like that, then it has to happen, and it has to happen now at this point. You know, leading up to it, and Finn Balor gets involved and does something. So that's what I think. Club go over. They win.
Sounds good. How about you, Ricky?
I gave it some thought. I really was thinking about maybe them doing 50-50 booking, and because they had the Revival look pathetic on Raw 25, they might reward them by having them win a pointless pre-show match. But I don't think they'll even get that. I think that yes, I do think that this new look Bullet Club will Balor Club is getting a bit of a push here. And because Finn Balor's on the front of it, they need his, you know, let's call it what is, his henchmen to look good, to prop up the group as a whole. So I can totally see Gallows and Anderson coming out on top in this match.
Sounds good. How about you, Dana? Who was your pick for this match?
Okay, so here's the thing. This is a throwaway match because it's a pre-show. So I honestly can see the Revival winning. I think that how they was introduced when that whole situation that happened at Raw 25 was something because the fans were revolting and about to riot. And I think that they just threw them in there all of a sudden. And I think that it could be viewed as like, oh, this is our payback now. And I can see them winning. Again, this is a throwaway match. I don't really see people paying attention to this. So, yeah, they can actually sneak in a win here.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll see what happens. Yeah, like you said, it is a throwaway match. So from one throwaway match to another one, we have a Cruiserweight 6-man tag match, which I really don't care who wins it. That's Kalisto, Lince Dorado, and Gran Metalik versus TJP, Gentleman Jack Gallagher, and Drew Gulak. I'm not a Kalisto fan, but I know they are obsessed with this guy being like another Rey Mysterio, so I say the good guys win. How about you, Adam?
Did you just say Kalisto?
Oh yeah.
What? I didn't even know. What? Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, Kalisto.
No. Oh, fine. Go with Kalisto. That's another pointless match.
Yeah, it's definitely a pointless match.
What?
All right, how
that's
about
in the pre-show? That's a pre-show, right?
Oh yeah, that's pre-show.
Okay, that's what it sounds like. I don't what?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a pre-show. Hey, just so long as I don't see Kalisto in the actual Royal Rumble, then I'm totally happy with this. So,
man,
how about you, Ricky?
I think the real winner is anyone that doesn't bother to watch that match. Just stick to it and do something else. That's your winner right there. But in all seriousness, we'll just say the good guys. Yeah, Kalisto, Lince Dorado, Grand Metalik, whatever.
Okay. How about you, Dana?
Lord. Okay. Can I just go with Gallagher? I like him. I'm going to just say that. Doesn't really matter either way.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Yeah.
But still, wait. I'm still confused. But how wasn't he feuding with Hideo?
Yeah,
yes, but nothing matters. And why Hideo isn't on the pre-show, I don't get it. But
all right.
Well, maybe Hideo was being punished for injuring, Kendrick.
Yeah, but he came back after that, and he started doing submissions. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't
see, maybe he is hurt again. There you go. You already jinxed him. You see, you gave him his like 18th injury in WWE.
Maybe Hideo comes and makes a surprise appearance and beats Jack Gallagher, and then they lose to Kalisto and whomever it is that's on the team. It's a throwaway thing. I don't know. Jack wins, him and his umbrella. If not,
I'm totally fine with that. We'll see. Again, like you guys said, a throwaway match, so we don't really care about that. And this is the actual final pre-show match. The only one that's interesting to me is Bobby Roode with the open challenge of the U.S. title. Now, obviously, Jinder Mahal is not on this card because he probably is in the actual Rumble match itself. So I don't know if Jinder will come out there. I figured if they actually cared about the pre-show, they would use this as an opportunity to introduce somebody that they called up to the main roster. But I don't think that's going to happen either. I think maybe we're going to get Ty Dillinger perhaps, or someone else on SmackDown. Rusev doesn't have a match, so maybe one of these guys is going to get a U.S. title shot. But if I had to make my guess, I still think Bobby Roode will come out the winner because I think they understand that Bobby Roode, for right now, going into WrestleMania, I think they want him to be the one that holds that belt unless they have bigger plans for him. But I say it's too soon for him to lose the belt, considering he just won it. So that's my guess.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Adam.
I don't know. I mean, I could see Dolph Ziggler coming back, and doing something, with his new look or gimmick, whatever it is that he has planned. This would be the place to debut that new look, that new feel, the rebirth. This would be it, and since they made it the open challenge, sort of points to that, because they're going, well, you don't have anybody lined up, so who is it going to be? And some people are like, oh, it'll be somebody like Ricochet or something. No, it's going to be somebody else. And this makes sense because then he never lost it. He just gave it up, and so he can go get reborn. And I think that means, getting a haircut or something, and changing up his outfit. But we'll see. But I think that's what it is. I think that'll be the match. It might be a good match, if he does come in. If not, if it's somebody else and it's a squash, who knows? Then it sucks. But
so just a quick question. So you think if him coming in, that means that he will not be in the Royal Rumble at all then?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to have him debut in the Royal Rumble. It's like, oh wow, Dolph Ziggler's back. That doesn't answer anything because he just gave up the belt and said he was done. So it doesn't make sense. Why would you go into the Royal Rumble to win a belt when there's an open challenge for that belt? A few matches earlier than that. Then it just makes sense if he were going to come back. Hell, he may not come back at all yet. Who knows? It may be somebody completely different. But yeah, that's my thought of what's going to happen with that match.
That's possible. Well, okay, Ricky, who's your pick?
Yeah, I think it's totally going to be Dolph Ziggler as the surprise, opponent. I could totally see him screwing Bobby Roode and getting the title back, but then what sense would that make? Oh man.
Yeah, the whole thing is touchy. It's weird, but it's like just think about this. They gave the belt to Roode for a reason, and that reason was for this Royal Rumble.
Yeah, they rushed it. They totally rushed it instead of having
rushed
him
it
win.
For some reason, and it has to do so. They actually have a plan for this one, and in order to do it, he needed the title. So
yeah,
he has it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Ziggler comes back and he actually wins it, because it'll kind of kill the effect of it if Ziggler comes back and it's like, yeah, I changed my mind. I want the belt back, and he comes back and then loses. Then it's like, okay, well, you just went away for nothing. You want the fans to go behind Bobby Roode, and that includes Bobby Roode busting his ass to get the belt just for Ziggler to come back and be on title like, oh, I want my belt back. And for Ziggler to win it back and people to be like, well, that's not fair. You left. That kind of thing. So I could totally see that. And again, like WWE is not above giving quick first title reigns. Tozawa had a really, really short Cruiserweight title reign. You know what I mean? Like
Kalisto also.
Yeah. So it's just like they're not above giving the first title reign being a very short one. If Zack Ryder had the Intercontinental belt for one day.
Yeah.
And that was strictly so they could do a Snickers commercial. So yeah, I'm going to say Ziggler wins it. That's going to be my prediction.
That's a good prediction. And one last thing I will say before I go to Dana is I really don't like Bobby Roode as a face. So whatever you want to do to turn this guy heel like he was at NXT, I would prefer that. Because they haven't really made the character interesting at all yet. So we'll see. Dana, who was your pick for this match?
I'm upset that this is going to be a pre-show and this could have an opportunity of being a really good show. And a lot of people are going to miss it. And yeah, I do see Ziggler coming back and I want to see that. And a lot of people are going to miss it. And it's disrespectful to have this on. So I'm going to go with Ziggler. And also I want to just simply say that they also announced the guest panel for the kickoff show, which will be Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Alundra Blaze, and Ric Flair. So, yeah, you see the disrespect? That should be the main show. But, yeah, whatever. So, I'm going with Ziggler and disrespectfulness.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right. I agree 100% with everything that y'all said, especially what Dana just said. So, we'll see what happens. All right, so let's move on now to the main card. Some of these matches will be very quick because we already know what the outcome is. We have the Usos defending their titles against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin in a 2 out of 3 falls match. So I do like the team of Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. However, thinking about the future and thinking about WrestleMania, I do not see that team going into WrestleMania as the team that you want to be representing SmackDown. I think the Usos, they've been holding those belts very well for quite some time. So I don't really see them getting rid of them. However, I do know that one of the Usos had a DWI recently, and I do not know if WWE wants to punish him for that particular incident. So I don't really know how they're going to handle that. Well, go ahead.
Well, under Vince's new policy, like with the XFL, he would have been fired. So I'm surprised he's still even there. It's like, whoa, You know, once he said that whole comment on X5, I was like, man, I wish I was on that call. I'm like, so are you firing this Uso guy because he just had one? You know, so yeah, no, but keep going.
Oh no, you make a good point. But I just think looking at these two teams, I don't really think that they've done enough with Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin yet, where I could see them winning the belts. Because I mean, I just think the Usos are, you know, they have everything going right for them, aside from the DWI, of course. They have everything going good for them now, so I don't really see them losing those belts yet. You have to get them a team that'll actually give them some competition, and I think they'll have that at WrestleMania. So I would say they're going to retain the belts in that match. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, they retain. I just don't see it. I could see Gable and Shelton breaking up. It's just not doing it for me. You know, Shelton can do so much better just by himself. You know, if anything, it's mainly just for Gable, and he needs to be repackaged. I mean, he's going for the wrestler, you know, the wrestler, you know, the amateur wrestler turned pro wrestler. And that's great. You know, he did wrestle on that level, but it's just not doing anything for them. I mean, for me, it's fine, you know, but when it comes to growth for the story and how they push certain characters, it's not enough. You know, it only works if you win a gold medal like Kurt Angle, and that didn't happen here. So it's sad, but I think they should just split them up after this. You know, they just go the separate ways, and I could see that happening right there in the ring. You know, they just shake hands and like, it's done, goodbye. You know, and then they do singles, and then maybe one of them, because I'm not sure if they mentioned it, but are they going to do some kind of shake up after the Rumble? Like, are they going to move people around? Because usually they do that after the big pay-per-views.
Yeah, they need to. It's getting stale.
Yeah, so
maybe,
you know, but yeah, I see the Usos. It just doesn't make sense to give it to Gable and Shelton.
Yeah, and interesting you said that, because I am going to say something about that when we get to the next match. But Ricky, who is your pick for this match?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think the Usos retain. They're just simply the better tag team. I feel like Gable and Benjamin are kind of forced. I'm a little puzzled because I remember shortly before they split up American Alpha and brought Jordan over to Raw, we saw Gable do a couple of singles matches on SmackDown, and it almost seemed like they were getting ready to push him as a singles performer. And then all of a sudden, okay, no, we're going to put him with Shelton Benjamin. No, it's not the same chemistry, I don't think, as they had with Jordan. So, yeah, split them up. I don't know if they're going to do it now. They're going to do it, you know, after WrestleMania. But I don't think they should be tag champions. I think the Usos are the ones to hold it. I don't know who else on SmackDown will take it off of them. But I'm going to say the Usos retain.
Put Gable on 205. There you go. You can toss all of them around. That'll be fun. He's a smaller guy. You know, I think it'll be good. It'll be all right. It'll work out.
Yeah, and he's listed as 202 pounds, so he would fit the mold.
He can make it. That's the thing. Yeah, he could definitely qualify for that.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, hey, it's possible. We'll see about that. That's good. That's good theory. How about you, Dana? What do you have in this match? The Usos or Shelton and Chad?
I want Chad and Shelton to win, even if it's like just for a day and then the Usos win back. I'm sorry, they need it. Yeah, so.
Well,
his face is like driving me crazy.
What happened?
Adam is doing like these facial things.
Oh yeah, Adam.
I don't see it. I just don't see it, but.
I'm like barely containing myself, but yeah, I want Chad and Shelton to win, even if it's just for one day.
Well, I will say this, that is a good point. I know SmackDown viewership is, I don't know, I don't know what the ratings are for SmackDown. To me, SmackDown is not as interesting as it was. Yeah. So if you need a reason to shake that up, you can try that, or they can try that in the other match we'll get into a little bit later. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, good picks all around. So the next matchup on the card, and this is my explanation is going to be very similar to Adam. We have Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan versus Cesaro and Sheamus. I think that it's very obvious at this point. Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins, that team will split, and it needs to happen. Seth Rollins is a much, much better wrestler on his own than he is with this guy. And obviously, if Dean Ambrose was there, then I think, yeah, it will be fine. I think Seth and Dean may still have that belt, or they may still decide to split them up and have them feud again. I don't know. But Jason Jordan, this whole thing with Jason Jordan, they have this character of playing somewhat of a heel, doing all types of ridiculous stuff. And I heard that there's a rumor going around that they are thinking about having him face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I do not want to see that match because I've already seen that match on Monday Night Raw. But I still think the team is finished. I think that this is the match where they will lose the belts. Once again, it goes back to Sheamus and Cesaro. And if that, I'll be surprised if they go in another direction and they have these guys keep the belts. But I just see it coming. And then especially when you look at what happened on Raw this past week when they had the whole attack and then Seth Rollins actually accidentally hit Jason Jordan in the face. So I think it's only a matter of time before they lose these belts. And I think that this is when it goes down. And then we have this whole falling out between him and between these two guys. And, we'll see whatever happens. But my pick is Cesaro and Sheamus will win. Of course, that will depend upon how healthy Sheamus is, because I know he's been injured as well as Jordan. So I don't really know how healthy he is. But I say Cesaro and Sheamus only for the fact that it's time for a change, and I'm tired of Jason Jordan. That's my pick. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, I see them going over. Also, the bar. I just don't. This whole thing just felt like same type of thing. It was like what you said. It's like, well, Ambrose is out hurt, and we had this whole plan with the tag team and all this stuff. Can we throw somebody to fill that spot? Yeah. All right, you know what? Just put them in. Let's go with that, and we'll figure something out. It just feels rushed, and just like got to scramble. What can you do? People get hurt. That happens. So yeah, I just give it back to the bar, and then have Authors of Pain come in and destroy everybody, and have the belt for 2 years, and that's it.
I like that. That sounds good. Oh, how about you, Ricky? Who's your pick?
Yeah, I think the bar takes the tag belts. They're the best tag team on Raw by default. I could totally see again Jason Jordan costing the match, creating a further rift between him and Rollins. I don't think they'll split right then and there, but you'll see, maybe a little bit of shoving. But yeah, Cesaro, Sheamus. It's one of those. It's funny how when you think back to what was it, late 2016 when we had that best of 7 that Mick Foley put in, no one wanted to see that, and I'll say that even if maybe some of the matches were pretty good, I still didn't want to see that, and just the whole thing of oh, we're gonna make them a tag team. That's how they did all that to build that up. It was ridiculous. But I keep going back and forth on them. Sometimes I think they're boring. Sometimes I think they're pretty interesting in the ring. They're just solid. They're very solid as a team. I don't watch Raw to see them perform, but they're pretty much the best that they have by default. So just give them the tag belts until, like Authors of Pain or someone else steps up.
I agree. Yeah, we'll see. How about you, Dana? Who do you have winning this match?
I'm calling BS. Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins will win.
Interesting. I didn't know you were a Jason Jordan fan. That's very interesting.
Yeah, she said it. Jason Jordan for life. For life.
I'm just surprised they didn't make him Vince McMahon's son and not Kurt Angle's instead. But yeah, I'm going with them. It's just they have that ridiculous push that I don't understand why, but for some reason I don't see it ending right now. So yeah, they're gonna win.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good theory too. We'll see. Okay, now we're going to move on to one of the more controversial matches of the night. We're going to have AJ Styles defending his championship against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a handicap match. Now, here's the issue I have with this match. It already came out a couple of weeks ago that the Fastlane pay-per-view, which is a SmackDown pay-per-view, will have a 5-way match, which is AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Randy Orton, and Shinsuke Nakamura. They already had Nakamura get attacked by Randy Orton on SmackDown this past week out of nowhere, the RKO out of nowhere. So I pretty much think that pretty much is in line to happen. This is why I don't think Shinsuke is going to win the Royal Rumble, and I'll get into that a little bit later because we're almost at that point of this discussion. But in regards to this match, when I mentioned earlier that SmackDown needs something to happen to get people to watch, I could see them having AJ lose and then get the belt back, and then have this title match once again at Fastlane. However, I don't think they should do that because, again, the storyline is very stupid now with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. It's very confusing to really know who to root for in this because, it would appear as though Daniel Bryan is a heel because he made this match. But then again, AJ Styles wanted this match because he said, oh, I'll face both of them. And then they said, okay, you got your wish. So I don't really know which way to look at the match. I think, obviously, though, if I was WWE, I would have AJ Styles still win because this past week, I know he beat Kevin Owens and lost to Sami Zayn. So that's a 50-50 split. I would say that AJ Styles should win, though, and he should be the champion going into WrestleMania, though, because this is one of the best guys on the roster right now in terms of being a wrestler. So I think AJ Styles will find a way to win the match, but I could also see them doing a little switch up and saying, okay, some type of clusterfuck finish, because, they like to do that stuff. But AJ Styles would be my pick for now. How about you, Adam?
I think just for creativity, Owen and Zayn win. Because think about it. If they're co-champions, they can switch off on who decides to defend the belt. So then they could make all kinds of interesting matches out of that. It's like, all right, I'm challenging for the belt. And then it's like, don't worry, I got this. I'll go against him. And then the other guy may run in something. And then next week, it's like, oh, no, I'm going to defend it. And I could see them doing swerve where guy says, all right, well, they'll figure out some wording. But then he comes out, then maybe that person gets pinned. It was like, yeah, but he wasn't the person scheduled to defend that belt. I was. So you just had a regular match. Something. I could see that there's got to be a reason behind doing a gimmick type match. Like this has never been done before. So in order to see that progress, you got to see it progress. You have to see these guys win and get the belt. So I think they're going to win. And maybe they get a custom belt made and it's super big and they both walk down to the ring with it. It could be cheesy. Who knows? But I see them walking away with this.
I like that explanation. That is a very, very good point all across the board. Yeah, I like that. How about you, Ricky? Who do you see winning?
I need a little bit more time to think about this. I'm going to defer to Dana for now.
Okay, Dana. Who do you see winning?
Oh Lord, jeez Louise. Okay, so I see. Okay, so it's no, it's not a 2 out of 3. See, it would have been much better if it was a 2 out of 3, but it's not. Jeez Louise. Can I see AJ Styles winning because of an interference?
Sure.
So there you go. That's my answer.
Okay, that's fine too. That could happen. I think we can all agree, regardless of what happens, this match will have a controversial finish because they always have at least 1 or 2 matches that has a ridiculous finish. So this match definitely will have that.
I want someone to run in because to help AJ. In fantasy land, I wish it was Daniel Bryan, but obviously that's not going to happen. But someone else needs to run in to help AJ.
Well, hey, Daniel Bryan, that don't mean Daniel Bryan and Shane won't be ringside, and then at that point, then all bets are off as to what could happen with the interference.
No, I cannot see WWE allowing Daniel Bryan to even spot. So, no.
That still pisses me off that everybody keeps thinking that, but all right.
Yeah, we'll see. I got something to say about Daniel Bryan in a little bit. How about you, Ricky? Are you ready to give your pick?
I am. Man, I do think it'd be very intriguing to see what would happen if they actually had Owens and Zayn win it and have to share the title, and what kind of rift that might cause between them. You know, what kind of fuckery would go on with that. But I don't see them taking that risk because we've never had a co-champion. I don't think that I mean, maybe I'm thinking too much into this, but I don't think that either Owens or Zayn want their first WWE title reign to be a shared one. They want it's meant to be I am number one, not number one, you know, that kind of thing. It would totally be a thing where, like, I wonder how this is going to play out. I got to see this happen watch SmackDown and see what happens, that kind of thing. But here's the thing. There's not enough time for them to really play out that story if you want to get rid of it before WrestleMania. There's only a few months before WrestleMania comes up. This is not the time to experiment. I think that would come later on in the year. So I'm going to have to say AJ Styles retains. I think it's going to be very close. It's going to be some times where we're like, oh my God, they're actually going to pull the trigger on this, but it just doesn't happen. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I'm just going to still say AJ Styles retains somehow. You know, beating the odds.
Yeah, I think it's good points all around. I mean, obviously they want to continue to build AJ for WrestleMania, but yeah, again, I want to know how they got to this 5-way, because obviously WWE is not talking about that, trying to go away from that. But the news is still out there. The arena is still advertising that match. So unless there's a significant change that happens, for now, looks like that is going to happen. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll see. Very interesting match, though. Okay, the next matchup, I think a match that we already know the outcome to. We have Brock Lesnar defending the Universal title that he doesn't really give a shit about against Braun Strowman and Kane. Now, let me just go ahead and first say this. Braun Strowman should win this match because, I mean, this is the second time he's faced Brock Lesnar. The last time it was a one-on-one match, they had him lose that match. We already know Kane is going to probably be the one that gets pinned in this match. I think Braun Strowman, all the stuff they have this guy doing with the whole incident on Raw a couple of weeks ago, they know that this guy, they are using him to be someone who you want to root for to get the title, even though he's a heel. He's a badass. And they don't really have any character right now that is a badass on the main roster. I wouldn't count Roman Reigns as a badass. This guy is a badass, though. But because it is WWE, because they want to have this whole thing where they're building up Lesnar to be, one F5, and he just takes out whoever he goes up against until he faces Roman Reigns. I think Lesnar will win, and it'll be after he beats Kane. So, unfortunately, Lesnar will win, although I want Strowman to win. It's just not going to happen. What's your pick, Adam?
Unfortunately, yeah, Brock. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I mean, I think he's gonna pin Kane. It's still gonna make the big man, the monster, look like a monster. He's still gonna be the strong man. I could see Brock and Kane both teaming up on Braun just to get him out of it. It's gonna be one of those situations. They're definitely try to get him out somehow, unless it's reversed the other way, but I doubt it because he's the monster. I mean, he's the one that attacked both of them, at Raw. So I think they're going to partner up, and that's going to be the goal. And then Brock is going to double cross Kane and catch him with an F5 and pin him and then walk away champ. I see it being a quick match. I don't think it's going to be long. And if you think about it, most of the time, other matches are not long because the Rumble takes an hour, right? About an hour or so.
About an hour and a half almost.
Yeah. You see, so it takes a majority of the show, and now we have 2 Rumbles. So we have the women's one. So I predict a lot of these matches to be pretty quick. So if it's going to be a squash match, then it makes sense to do it this way, and it makes sense for Kane to take the loss on this because it doesn't hurt him in any way. It doesn't matter. It would hurt Braun more than Kane. So, right, just let it go. That's it. Take one for the team and move on.
Yeah, I mean, Kane has to worry about his political lifestyle. So he needs to worry about that. He needs to retire. I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, Kane, it's time to retire, man. So go ahead and take this loss.
You're not the boss of me.
Oh no, yeah. I'll tell him. I tell him go ahead and take this loss, and it is what it is. We already know Strowman definitely will not be the one that gets pinned, because they want him to remain strong in defeat. So, but yeah, that's a good theory. How about you, Ricky? Who you think is going to win this match?
Yeah, Braun will come close. Kane will stop the pin. Kane will eventually get pinned by Brock Lesnar. Braun will get his revenge on Kane at Elimination Chamber. That's the end of that. Brock Lesnar will still have the damn belt at WrestleMania against an opponent to be determined later. Whereas who the hell knows who Braun is going to face at WrestleMania? That's going to be determined later.
I just thought of something. I hate to interrupt. I just thought of something. I know that there was a rumor that now they're thinking of having Braun Strowman go against The Miz in an Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania. I just want to say this right now. One thing that I did forget about, and I think that it is a possibility, Triple H. He may interfere in this match and somehow do something to get Braun to not win. And if that happens, then of course you now have Triple H going against Braun because they already teased the little tension between these guys or Survivor Series.
You're right. You're right. I totally forgot about that. The whole Survivor Series thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. That's who Braun will face at WrestleMania, Triple H. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. That would be a better match than The Miz, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay, Dana, who is your pick?
I am going to go with I don't know. I'm gonna have to go. Okay, this is what I'm saying, and this can actually happen. So this is very realistic. They both go into the ring. Brock Lesnar F5s both of them at the same time. Boom, he wins. That's it.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Dana has the best predictions.
That'll get more booze than the Hammerstein crowd.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, Brock Lesnar is unstoppable. He
has heat on him because the way he keeps winning, he's not gonna drop the belt. So it proves look what Braun does. He can lift things up and put them down, and he can toss people around, and that's just it. But look at what Brock Lesnar can do. He can just kill you with both guys at the same time, F5. And then when Roman comes in during WrestleMania, that's how you make him ultimately the strongest guy ever.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. If all designed to get Roman Reigns over and at the strong, he has to remain strong. Yeah, I think that would definitely be convincing to any casual fan. But for those that know what's up with Roman Reigns, they are gonna be like, man, they're gonna be so livid, and I can't wait to see that reaction if that's what happens.
But see, any reaction is a good reaction. Even if you was to say everyone is going to riot and they actually physically riot in there, that will be the talk of the town. That will get headlines everywhere. And that will be like, oh, what will they do now at WrestleMania? How much will they riot then? Because there you go. Everyone is going to tune in. Did you see the riot? Did you see what happened? So that's the way to go. F5, same time, both of them. And just walk out. Don't even say anything. Don't even have Paul Heyman say anything. Just walk out. That's it.
That'll be funny. But Heyman will be giving his whole spiel, the reigning, defending, and then just that quick, the match ends. So by the time Heyman's done, that'd be funny. That'll be funny to see. But yeah, fans will be pissed. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's good. Brock wins. I think we can all agree that's going to happen because they have to. Because he is the chosen one. He needs to be the one that needs to lose the belt, I guess. But we'll see. Okay, we got 2 matches left, and this is the one that is going to be interesting. The Women's Royal Rumble match. So we now know that Stephanie McMahon is going to be ringside for commentary. Okay, that means she may very well get involved in the match. I don't really like that, but I know the McMahons, they really can't. They really have to always get involved with their product. They have an issue with that, and their dad started that, so it is what it is. So if I had to make a guess as to how this match is going to go, I already know that Ronda Rousey had that little TMZ interview where she said, "Oh, I'm not in the Royal Rumble. I'm traveling." However, I really don't believe that because we all know Ronda Rousey is a horrible actress rather. So she very well could still be in this match. Now, do I think that she should win if she is in the match? Hell no, she shouldn't, because if they want to talk about this is a women's revolution, I think the winner needs to be somebody who is actually actively on the roster and has been in WWE for some time. I don't think it should be her. But again, if they want to bump up WrestleMania, she's going to be on that card no matter what. I don't think she needs to win the Rumble to be on that card. But here's what I will say. They have made Asuka look like the big times. You know, Asuka is pretty much at the top of the top of her game. Even on Raw, they had her attacking the other women and throwing them out the ring after they had their little match as a team. So I think the current storyline would be that Asuka will get far in that Rumble. Whether or not she wins it, it's going to maybe come down to her and whoever the last couple people are in that match. But if I had to make a guess as to who will win the match, I say I'm going to root for Asuka because I want to see Asuka win. That probably won't happen. Because again, if Ronda Rousey is in this match, I just feel like they're going to be like, you know what, give it to Ronda because that'll get people to watch WrestleMania, and that'll be a very dumb decision if I was WWE. But because this is a business, I can see them doing that, and then I won't really like that outcome. But Ronda Rousey is going to be there. I still think that. But as for who can win, all I can say right now, I think Asuka or Nia Jax, because they still have unfinished business. But I think anyone else outside of that is Ronda. But if I had to make a guess, I'm going to say Asuka for now, and we'll see what happens. So, Adam, who is your pick for this women's battle royal?
Oh, man, anybody else except Asuka?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you need a number one contender. You need somebody that can stand up with a chance to kick her ass. You got to build up for the future, for Mania. So whoever tosses her out has to be the one, you know. Or I wouldn't be surprised if they all gang up and just throw her out just to get that out of the way. You know, it's like,
well, okay, that's a good theory. I have a question now. Now is Charlotte and Alexa Bliss in this match, or no? Because they said that the winner is supposed to get a title shot, right?
Yeah.
So are they in this match, or they're not in? They're not in at all.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, that's the thing. They haven't given a full listing of everybody that's involved in this match.
Okay.
So,
yep. So there'll be some surprises.
Yeah. But yeah,
so you say anybody but Asuka.
Anybody but Asuka. You know, it just, you want to see something different. She needs a feud before she starts going for this belt and doing all this. She needs a feud. She needs something going. Right now, she's just kicking ass. You know, it's a continuation from NXT, which is amazing because WWE has never done this with anybody. They're not even pointing out the fact that she's gone longer than Goldberg like they did before. Before they kept announcing, man, she's still undefeated. She's still undefeated. Well, she is still undefeated, and she's been on the main roster for over 6 months. So what is happening? Like this is unheard of. She's automatically now qualified to go into the Hall of Fame. Think about that. That's it. She's done. She's in. Just for this record alone, you know. So
that's true.
That's why it's like I want her to get eliminated so that way they can just lead up to something, because whoever throws her out still is going to have to go through her unless they're going to SmackDown. You know.
Well, how about this? They could very easily just have her. You know, she gets eliminated, but again, she is still actively in the title picture. She's already has something going on with Alexa Bliss, so they can have her win that belt and then defend it at WrestleMania against whoever the winner of that match is, and it could be the same person that eliminated her in the actual Rumble.
Yeah. Could be. It could be, but it just, you would definitely want to see. And then now that we know the whole thing about NXT, some of the NXT girls are going to be able to compete in this. So that's going to be interesting. And then I was right. Somebody pointed out, I was talking to somebody about the whole Royal Rumble, and I was like, yeah, I don't think, remember I said there was just that one guy that was in it, but then he was really in the Andre Giant Battle Royal. But Bo Dallas had appeared in it, and what's his name, Mr. 10, Ty Dillinger, made his appearance in his debut in the Royal Rumble. So he had just got called up. We didn't know if he was going to be on Raw or SmackDown, but it was the appearance over at the Rumble. So again, that opens up the door for the ladies of NXT, and we could see something interesting there. And who knows, that could be for Shayna too. Throw her in there, like I said before. So my thing is, I don't care as long as it's not Asuka. She can't keep winning on everything. It's just
right. So one quick comment I'll make, and then I'll go to Dana, get her thoughts. I did hear the Triple H did have a call yesterday, and he did say that what are their names? Peyton Royce and what's the other girl's name?
The two Australians.
Yeah, he said they can get called up at any time. So they're definitely in the match. There you go.
Yeah.
He said that they can get called up to the main roster at any time.
I want Dakota Kai to get called up. Bring Dakota Kai.
Hey, maybe. And I'm pretty sure Candice LeRae will be there. They just signed her, so she'll maybe be in that match too. Yeah. But we'll see. Dana, what are your thoughts on who could potentially win this match?
I'm the only person who's not excited for this. It was like, yay, Divas Revolution. And we remember the last time we had something that was supposed to be marketed as Divas Revolution, and that was the Money in the Bank thing. And we ended up, we know how that ended with Enzo running in and basically winning, technically, for Carmella. Here's the thing here. I'm going to go with two.
That wasn't Enzo. That was
That wasn't Enzo?
Yeah. No, that was
James Ellsworth.
Ellsworth.
They're interchangeable. I'm sorry. They both, I miss James Ellsworth. Anyway.
Only in the reruns he'll come back.
Maybe he can come in for okay, never mind. That's another thing. Okay. So here's the thing. I think one of two things of how he was talking about Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie and Ronda, they had their little beef back in, WrestleMania 31. And if random theory thing, I don't want either one of them in the actual Royal Rumble match. But wouldn't it be great if Stephanie's doing this big monologue thing about, I'm the greatest or whatever she's saying. And then Ronda comes in and then just beats her up real quick and then runs back out. That would get a huge pop. But now in regards to the Rumble itself, I know that you guys said that NXT people can be in there. So I don't want Asuka to win. I'm sorry. But I would love someone from NXT. Just a random person that we don't even think of. Because to me, I think that's the whole great spirit of the Royal Rumble is that you get these, random people that can actually win. So I want someone from NXT, or if not, because, WWE likes to kill happiness, I would let's see, maybe, I'm so sick and tired of Charlotte. Maybe, oh gosh, I honestly don't even know.
Yeah,
Ember?
the problem
Ember can do it. Why not?
So in other words, what you're saying is Ember Moon, she loses the NXT title and then wins the match the next night.
There you go.
Yeah.
I want her. She deserves it. And she's good. Or if not, Peyton can make it in the top 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly possible. I think it'll be a very interesting move to have someone from NXT be elevated that quickly to win that match. But it would be perfect because, that'll get even more eyes on NXT.
She's been around for a while, if you think about it, not including when she got hurt, you know, and then she had some big feuds with Asuka, so they could try to play that off again, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Want to beat her because that was the whole thing. You remember, we all thought she was going to be the one, and she was not.
But if we're gonna go brand, which I kind of think that they will go, I'm gonna go with Charlotte Flair.
Well, I mean, I guess, but again, I don't really know who's in that match because there's a lot of spots that will open. I mean, there will obviously be some legends. Trish. I expect Trish Stratus to be in the match. I expect Lita to be in the match also. But I just don't know. I just don't know. I will say though that that's a very good theory about NXT. I do believe NXT will have a huge presence in the men's rumble, but they will also be in the women's rumble. So, but whether or not they win, that's a good theory. I mean, it's very interesting, but we'll see. So Ricky, who are your thoughts on who could potentially win this match?
Well, before I get to that, I do want to mention that, so this is expected to be a 30-woman battle royal. And I was just looking at the main roster, and I see 20 or 21 women on the main roster who could compete. So you got to fill in those spots somehow, and I'm sure there'll be some NXT women in there. There'll be some legends in there. The one that's going to win it isn't listed there. It's going to be Ronda Rousey. I don't care. I don't care what she says. I don't care what people are saying. She's going to be there and she's going to win it. You know, this whole thing of like, she's off shooting a movie. She put on Instagram a photo of her, like not a photo of her, but a photo of like Bogota, Colombia, which I guess is where this movie is being filmed or whatever. I remember Chris Jericho denying that he was going to be at a Royal Rumble, and he ended up showing up at the Royal Rumble anyway. I think it was like a couple of years ago. He totally flat out denied that he was going to be there, and then he showed up anyway. So I still think she's going to appear in it, and she'll win. That's basically my prediction of that. The other thing is my point of mentioning all the main roster women is that even though I think it's Charlotte and Alexa Bliss are the champs for their respective brands, I think they'll still compete because at the very least it will be like, the first ever women's Royal Rumble. Everyone's going to want to win it no matter what's at stake. And they have to fill in spots there. And if Charlotte and Alexa Bliss are not in this Rumble, they're not at the Royal Rumble at all. So I think all hands on deck is how it will be approached on this thing. But I think Ronda Rousey is going to be the one to pull it off. I think she'll probably be number 30 to appear because she's the most raw of the women that will be participating, and it will allow her to win quickly.
Yeah. And it would definitely get people to watch WrestleMania because they'll be curious to see who she faces. I will say it will get some backlash though, because we already know those who really care about the women's division in WWE, they're going to be like, well, wait a second now, they won't like that.
And everything points that this makes perfect sense because, yeah, she's filming movies and doing all this stuff. So she shows up, she tosses everybody out, she wins. That just guarantees her a title shot. She doesn't have to wrestle until WrestleMania. So it works out. It's like, all right, well, she won, and we know she's going to be at Mania, and that's it. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.
But then who does she go against?
They'll have a chance to kind of gauge public response. Do the people like her? Do they want to see her at WrestleMania? Then she'll face Alexa Bliss. Are they booing her because she's getting the Batista treatment? Then she'll face Charlotte. I think that's kind of they'll use that time to kind of measure the fan reaction and then have her decide which belt to go after. And think about it. She's not tied to a brand right now, so she could go either way.
They don't care about fan reaction. Hence Raw 25.
Absolutely, and hence what will happen in the Royal Rumble, the actual men's match.
Yeah, spoilers. But yeah, I'll say Ronda Rousey wins it. If I'm not allowed to pick her for any reason, Asuka seems like the obvious choice. Possibly Nia Jax, and yeah, Ember Moon. If you got to go with NXT, Ember Moon's the one that makes the most sense there. But I still have a strong hunch it's going to be Ronda.
And let me just go ahead and say and just get this over with now. Alicia Fox will not win it. Okay, let's just make that very clear now. Because you would think that she's been with this company so long. Let's give her an opportunity. Hell no, they won't do that. So that's not going to happen. But that's good. Good thoughts. I think Ronda Rousey is going to show up though. I know she's a bad actor, bad actress. It's the second time I said that. And it must be getting too late.
What, you didn't like her in Expendables?
I mean, she's okay, but she's not really too convincing. That's why, because I look at that TMZ interview, and she was laughing the whole time. The guy's asking, "Oh, so what do you think?" They're saying you're going to be in the Rumble. It says, "I'm going to go film a movie," and then starts laughing, like, "Oh yeah, I just told you a good joke, but only I know what the joke was."
Who I would like to see? Gina Carano. Remember her?
Oh yeah.
Whatever happened to her, man?
I don't know. I don't know what happened with her.
Wait, isn't she doing Deadpool?
Gina?
She was in Deadpool, the last movie. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go. See?
I don't know if she's going to be in the sequel.
She was like 8-0 in MMA, not in UFC. She was 8-0, and then she was also in American Gladiator. Right? She was on that when they did the reboot. And then she did some movies, and then she was even the main star in one of the movies. She was kicking ass in the hallway and stuff doing one of those things. And I always thought it was going to be a place for her in that, because then she went against Cyborg and got beat. And then that was it. She just never fought again.
Yeah, that's what happens to all of them. Ronda lost as well twice.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
But that was the other thing. Supposedly she's still under contract. Dana White says he still has her under contract. So.
Oh, really? Uh-oh.
Yeah, that was the other little wrench in the whole thing. So
interesting. Very interesting. Well,
it's probably going to be something with okay, you get to use Brock Lesnar. In return, we get to use Ronda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be that. Could be that. Well, I will say that again. I look forward to seeing Ronda Rousey on Sunday. I don't look forward to her winning the match, but listen, it is if it is for what's best for business, it absolutely must happen, I guess. So we'll see about that.
Okay, how about she tries to enter, Stephanie blocks her, and then they end up in a fight?
No, we don't want to see
that. That can happen. The thing is this. I think you are right that there will be some type of eventual match with her and Stephanie McMahon. I really don't want to see any of that shit because I'm tired of the McMahons putting themselves in matches.
But just a roll around slap.
No, that's not believable. No.
Ronda Rousey is an MMA champion, former MMA champion. So if she taking any damage from Stephanie McMahon, that's going to be like
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The only person that can hold up would be Charlotte. That's the only thing anyone ever really wants to see. That's the only time they ever talk about this. They're like, "Who do you want to see against?" Oh, Charlotte.
Yeah, that match makes sense.
People would love for Ronda to get beat by Stephanie, even if it's like a quick little, side thing.
Yeah, you're right about that. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, I feel like it is going to happen because then they can go back to that. Because we already know when it comes to storylines, WWE is also inconsistent. Then they are consistent when they want to be consistent. And because it is about the McMahons, they'll definitely be consistent with that. But anyone else, they're going to be like, oh, we can forget about that. People won't really get it. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, looking forward to that match. And now we're going to get to the main event, the match that everybody and their mama can't wait to see. And that is the actual Royal Rumble match itself. Now, prior to, as I said earlier on this show, because they announced that 5-way for SmackDown, I don't think that Shinsuke will win. I know he was on that list of the betting odds to win the match. beforehand. But of course, that changed because Roman Reigns is now been added to the list officially yesterday, which was January 26th when we started recording this show. So, I don't want to see Reigns win. He already won in Philadelphia, got the horrible response from the fans, the booing, and then The Rock was there also, and that was a bad experience. I think it will be the same thing now because people still don't, they have a mixed reaction to Reigns. But again, Vince is determined to get Reigns in that Universal title picture to beat Brock Lesnar. So I feel like Roman Reigns absolutely is going to win. Should he win? No. I will say, though, I fully believe that they are going to do this thing where they're going to be playing around with people's thoughts. Like people who you want to see win, they're going to get close and then they're going to get eliminated. Like there was one Rumble in particular I recall where everybody was hoping Daniel Bryan is in it. He's going to win it. Then he gets eliminated by Bray Wyatt. And then you had Ambrose come in and then he gets eliminated. It was just like all the people you wanted to see getting eliminated. And then you had Big Show and Kane in there. That actually was the same Rumble, I think, that Reigns won. So
he threw both of them out.
Yeah, he threw both of them out because he's so strong he can throw everybody out.
And now it's Philadelphia. Remember, this is in Philadelphia also.
And don't forget, he threw out Rusev, who was underneath the ring, and because everyone forgot, like, oh, Rusev's still out there. He's still a legal man in the thing. Yeah, it was bullshit. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I do remember that. So I don't. Here's the thing: Roman Reigns will probably win. He has to be the favorite to win now because he doesn't have the IC title. But I do think there's going to be a lot of surprises. I do think, and for some reason, I think this is going to happen. I think if when Braun Strowman loses that match, he may come out there and just start beating up everybody, and he may be in there towards the end. But then again, as I said earlier, with Triple H could easily come out there and make sure he gets out of that match, and then that sets up the whole match for Triple H. That I think is going to happen at WrestleMania because The Miz versus Braun Strowman, nah, man, we don't need to see that match. We already know how that's going to end. But I just think at the end of the day, Roman Reigns will win. It's unfortunate because, as I said earlier, Finn Balor, they want this to be the year of Balor Club. Well, it would make sense for him to get a huge win because having him win this match and then be put in that match with Brock Lesnar, that will again elevate him back to the main event scene. But again, because he isn't the guy to beat Brock, it'll just mean that Brock will win again. And again, Reigns will be the one that takes him out and eventually gets that title. So I just feel like Roman Reigns is going to be the guy that wins it. But that's just my thoughts. Adam, who do you see winning this match?
Batista. No.
Oh, no.
No, if I'm going to, all right, so now I'm going to have to go through all the dirt and all the rumors that are all floating around this one to get my answer. Because, of course, we've all heard about it, about Daniel Bryan going to be in it. I don't think so. I don't see that happening. I don't see WWE wanting to take that chance. All the wrestlers have already said this multiple times. The most dangerous match they've ever been in is the Rumble because there's so many bodies around. Accidents can happen. You can go and toss somebody on the floor, then on the mat, then the guy that's next to him steps back, doesn't realize it, steps on his head, steps on his arm. He lands the wrong way. There's just too many chances for something to go wrong. So no, I don't see him in there, because if you're going to bring him back, it's going to be in a situation in a controlled environment. Like when they brought back Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. Remember when he came back after his injury, he said the only person he'd go against Triple H because he knew Triple H would take care of him and it'll be okay. And it'll be one of those situations. It'd be too risky to dump him in a match like this. He's a small guy also. And all these big guys that are in the, no, there goes that. Batista has openly said he wants to come back. He wants to wrestle. He misses it. He wants to do the whole thing. It sounds crazy because he's doing movies and stuff, but this is what he wants to do. So I could easily see him being as one of the surprises in this. Jumps in. Boom. Okay, he's there. EC3, that's another one. Just canceled his indie show that he had scheduled for the Rumble. A lot of people saying this is it. He has a good reputation with WWE from when he was in NXT. So if that's the case, yeah, I could easily see him getting dumped in this. So there we go. That's another possibility. Is he going to win? Hell no. But I'm sure he'll stick around for a little bit. No Ricochet in this one. Don't see that happening. I see him showing up at NXT in the crowd like they always do, like with Bobby Lashley. I mean, with Bobby Roode. Remember, he was in the crowd and Oscar was in the crowd. Oh, look who's in. I think it's going to be with that, but I don't see him in this Rumble. So when it comes down to a big surprise, I see my boy Aleister Black. I see him as one of the big ones. He's going to make his appearance there, hopefully. I think that'll be something they do. When it comes to winning it, John Cena. I have a feeling they're just going to give it to John Cena. That's just what they do. We're going to see faces. We're going to see potential feuds with who throws out who. But at the end of it all, it's always the predictable ones. And yeah, we could say Roman, and that makes more sense. But I think the way they're trying to set things up with Cena and all the stuff with his title and him leaving and going out for movie roles and disappearing, and they still want to keep him relevant, I say they give it to Cena. So.
Okay, I like that prediction. Now I have a quick question I want to ask, and then we'll go to Dana next. So if Cena wins, does this mean that Reigns gets that belt beforehand, so we have a rematch of Cena versus Reigns before title?
Man, I still don't know. I don't know why, but I still see Cena going against Brock and trying to get that win and gets the belt from him.
Oh, again?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. They want to make, I'm telling you, they want Cena to be like their Hulk Hogan. The modern day Hulk Hogan. That is, people don't understand. It's not about whose yard and, oh yeah, they just want him to be the poster boy. They want him to be the legend, John Cena. They want him to be what Hulk Hogan is. Why we all know Hulk Hogan, because like, oh, we grew up with him. He was always the good guy. Cena's always the good guy, and he's for the people, and that's what they want, and they want him to overcome the odds. Who's the ultimate villain right now? Brock is the ultimate villain right now. So this would make perfect sense for him because why? He's leaving to do more movies. So win this match, then we don't have to see you till Mania. Goodbye. You come back, you compete for whoever's the champ. I still think it's going to be Brock. He wins it. He eventually loses it, maybe to Braun or maybe to Roman. They have that title match, loses, and then he announces, you know what? I'm retiring. But that's already like 3 years down the road. Maybe 2 years. But it just seems like it makes more sense. If you go down the whole Roman Reigns, been there, done that. So they got to try something different. And we know they only like their big stars to win these type of things. They don't throw curveballs. We're not going to see a Shinsuke or anything that win. Nope, that doesn't happen. These people make appearances. They make some impact. They throw people out. We saw with AJ Styles when he debuted. They go in, they make a little impact, a little this, a little that, and then they're out. But hey, they showed something. They were in there. That's it. But who wins? It's always. Try to remember the last time you were really surprised by a win. It's always like the big names that you expect. So.
That's true. Good point. All right, we'll see about that. Okay, Dana, who do you think is going to win?
Roman. I'm like, yay, what you're saying about Cena, Roman. It's just, WWE is just that predictable. Roman. And yeah, Roman. Also, I do have a question though. I was wondering if any of you guys thought that if any of the legends will appear, because I know MVP isn't technically really doing anything but a bunch of indie stuff, and he's just still in shape. He's still wrestling. He still looks good. Yeah. So I wonder if he's gonna make a little quickie appearance.
I could see that, especially since he was there that night. It just makes sense. I could see also Bubba. I can see Bubba running in there.
What about Godfather?
No.
Oh, the Good Father. Well, now he's not. He's not in that line of work anymore. He's married now. So
yeah, he's married. Well, if you go an arrow, then
that was so crazy. That wasn't even his wife.
No, that wasn't his wife.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this random woman? But yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going.
Yeah, you said you're going with Reigns. Yeah,
I'm going with Roman.
Yeah, hey, gotta make him look strong. Make him look strong. Okay, Ricky, this is gonna be interesting. Who was your pick for the Rumble?
Well, if you recall, last year there was a particular Rumble entrant who had a big reaction when his name was announced. That's who I think is going to win it. Perfect 10. Ty Dillinger. 10. No. It's not going to be Ty Dillinger. No. No, they definitely got to mix things up with the Rumble because you can't have it be too predictable. So, I mean, we still got to get a big surprise at number 30, and who knows, maybe we get this guy in.
Let it die. Let it die.
Maybe we get this guy coming in. No. Too soon for that. It's not going to be Punk either. Here's how I think it's going to play out. Okay, so we all know Roman Reigns is going to win the damn thing. That's just how it is. Now, here's the thing. So he hasn't won the last two. He lost, 2 years ago to he had Triple H eliminate him. Okay, people love that. Last year, they had Randy Orton win. I actually kind of forgot that Randy Orton won the damn thing. They had Randy Orton win it by eliminating Roman Reigns. And they did that because they wanted to make Randy Orton's win more palatable to the fans. Be like, okay, well, if it's between these two guys, I'd rather it be Orton. That's how they did. Because they know that the smart marks don't like Reigns. So they played into that. They're going to play into it again this time. But this time, the final two is going to be Roman Reigns and Jason Jordan. And they're going to say, oh, I know it's Philly, but the fans don't like Jason Jordan. They might actually prefer Reigns. And then they're booing Jason Jordan. Let's have it like that. And so they'll try to manufacture cheers for Roman Reigns by doing that. The same way they try to manufacture cheers by, reforming the Shield and all that. But that didn't quite work out because whenever Roman Reigns had his matches by himself, he still got booed. So I still think that's how it's going to be. It's going to be Roman eliminating Jordan at the end to win the Royal Rumble. That's how that'll end. And then we'll get the predictable Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match. And if you'll recall, and I was there for this, Raw after WrestleMania last year in Orlando, Brock Lesnar had the Universal title. Paul Heyman was out in the ring. Paul Heyman called out Roman Reigns. And I was there, and there were audible just, people were groaning at the thought of it. But it's like, okay, they're really going to like telegraph this a year ahead of time. But I think that's how it's going to be. You have to remember, Vince is infatuated with Roman Reigns. He just does not give a shit. The whole thing with Reigns and Triple H from 2 years ago, people saw that coming for months, and it still happened exactly the way they thought it would. Roman Reigns facing The Undertaker, everyone knew Roman Reigns was going to win that match, and he did. So that's just how this is all going to go down. That's the way I see it.
That's good. That is very good, very good. I totally see them doing that. Because they already started doing that thing with Jason Jordan and Roman Reigns, trying to figure out who's going to get the worst reaction. So yeah, I definitely see that happening. This sounds like it's going to be a very depressing Royal Rumble if that's how it ends. Well, we'll see what happens. Any final thoughts on this particular match before we get ready to wrap up the show?
It's not the match itself. It's just in general. You know how Hulk Hogan was running around giving interviews saying that he can't wait to get back into the WWE?
Yeah.
Well, WWE released a statement, and basically they just said that they're sticking to their decision, and that's it.
Wow. I wasn't expecting them to say that. I thought that they was on board with him coming back.
Nope. They said they're sticking to their decision.
Wow. Interesting.
At this time, WWE remains committed to its decision.
So see, that's different. At this time, they reserve the right to change their mind. You know, it's always what's best for business. That's the way I see it. I think they'll bring Hogan back. They may not just do it. They may not do it, you know, anytime soon. But I think they'll still do it.
Well, I think I know when they'll do it. WrestleMania. Let's have Hogan come back, and you know, we get a more boost in viewership and all that other jazz.
That would also make sense because you'll remember his botch the last time they had it.
Yeah.
The Silver Dome, brother. They got to bring it. They might want to bring him back just for that. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Well, I think it's overall some very good predictions. I mean, I'm still excited for the Royal Rumble. I mean, I'm not excited to see Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble, but it still should be an interesting match. Hopefully, we get some surprises and then maybe some stuff that we didn't say. Like maybe Drew McIntyre actually is cleared to come back and shows up in that match. I mean, I want to see some kind of surprises, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much wraps up our predictions for tonight's show. I wanted to give you guys, if you have any shout outs that you would like to give, Adam, how about you go first?
Shout out to everybody that's listening and watching, and shout out to everybody here, and shout out to all the wrestling fans around the world, and shout out to all the people on the other podcasts, Throwdown, shout out to everybody part of Koalition, shout out to everyone. You know, there's a lot of wrestling going on this weekend. There's a lot going on all over the world, but wrestling is a great distraction. You know, it's fun to watch. It's mindless. You know, we're talking about all this stuff. Look at it. This is a lot of deep conversation about something that's all fictional and it's ongoing. You know, I mean, this beats out Star Wars, Star Trek. I mean, there's a lot going on here. This universe is definitely massive. So yeah, shout out to everybody who's into this new world.
Absolutely. And how about you, Dana? Any shout outs that you would like to give?
Shout out to NXT for picking up the slack every major pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good shout out. How about you, Ricky? Any shout outs that you would like to give?
Sure. I'd like to give a shout out to two people. The first shout out I'd like to give is to our great host, Richard Bailey. Happy birthday.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Or in this case, belated birthday for those of us here on the East Coast. But yeah.
Thank you.
And second shout out I'd like to give. Hey, Punk, if you are not going to appear at the Royal Rumble, can you please let AJ Lee appear, please, and have her win the Rumble? I'd be totally fine with it. I'll wear the shirt. I'll totally wear the shirt.
She's gonna help Dolph Ziggler win. They're gonna go old school.
Anything to get her back. Please bring her back. But yeah, that's my other shout out.
That's great. That's a good one. I would love to see her come back also at some point. We'll see. But yes, thank you very much also for the shout out to me. Yeah, old man now, but it's all good. I still look young to some degree. But yes, I want to give a shout out to all the Patreon supporters that continue to support us. Everybody that was in the chat tonight, we appreciate the very interesting conversations. And also want to give a shout out to the Throwdown crew as well. I believe that they now have 1,400 subscribers.
Yeah, so, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Excellent work. Excellent work. And we will be back Sunday for the co-op. We'll also be back for WrestleCast next Friday and give our thoughts about what transpires this weekend. But thank you all for listening, tuning in, and we'll talk to you all next week.
There you go. Good night.